Chapter 1750. Okay, let's start. Since Chu Fengmian had successfully condensed the first divine-grade spiritual stone, it would be extremely easy for him to condense the next one. He activated his divine pulse and communicated with the power of the underground spiritual veins. A large number of divine-grade spiritual stones appeared in front of Chu Fengmian. In the blink of an eye, dozens of pure white spirit stones appeared in front of Chu Fengmian. However, after condensing more than 100 divine-grade spiritual stones, Chu Fengmian felt a spiritual power void. The spiritual power required to condense divine-grade spiritual stones was completely different from that of sacred-grade spiritual stones. Chu Fengmian could condense millions or even tens of millions of sacred-grade spiritual stones in the blink of an eye. However, Chu Fengmian's spiritual power was completely depleted after condensing more than 100 divine-grade spiritual stones. Although the divine pulse could absorb spiritual power from the void and the earth veins to replenish itself, it was still not enough. However, as Chu Fengmian's strength grew stronger, the divine pulse could not recover in an instant like when Chu Fengmian was still weak. Now that Chu Fengmian's spiritual power was depleted, it would take a few minutes for the divine pulse to recover. This was the price of Chu Fengmian's abundant spiritual power. However, it was impossible for him to consume spiritual power like this, even in a battle. Condensing divine-grade spiritual stones drained Chu Fengmian's spiritual power in an instant, making it impossible for the divine pulse to recover. No wonder divine-grade spiritual stones are so rare in the world. I'm afraid that even celestial realm experts may not be able to condense many divine-grade spiritual stones. Chu Fengmian looked at the more than 100 divine-grade spiritual stones in front of him and could not help but think. No wonder divine-grade spiritual stones were so precious in the records. Now, Chu Fengmian's spiritual power was not inferior to a real celestial realm expert. After condensing more than 100 divine-grade spiritual stones, his spiritual power was depleted. It was amazing for a half-step celestial realm expert to be able to recover his spiritual power in a few minutes. It was only possible because Chu Fengmian had the divine pulse. Without the divine pulse to continuously recover spiritual power, people like the Five Elements Saber Saint would have to spend a lot of resources to fully recover once their spiritual power was depleted. Otherwise, he might not be able to recover even after several years just by absorbing spiritual energy bit by bit. This was also one of the reasons why half-step celestial realm powerhouses were usually unwilling to appear, and instead, they were all in closed-door cultivation. After all, not everyone was like Chu Fengmian, who had a holy pulse. Therefore, Chu Fengmian was never stingy with his spiritual power when fighting. However, it seemed that Chu Fengmian wouldn't be able to condense a large number of divine-grade spirit stones this time. After all, Chu Fengmian didn't dare to rashly use up all his spiritual energy to condense spirit stones. Normally, he could only condense them one by one. Once his spiritual energy was exhausted, Chu Fengmian would be in extreme danger during the recovery period. Within the Sword Origin world, Chu Fengmian had the protection of the Sword Origin world, so he wasn't afraid. However, he couldn't do the same outside. However, a single divine-grade spirit stone was worth more than 1 million or even 10 million saint-grade spirit stones. The more than 100 divine-grade spirit stones in front of Chu Fengmian was actually a shocking amount of wealth. Even the 7 great sects did not have so many divine-grade spirit stones. As for you, merge with the divine tree and become its nourishment. Chu Fengmian glanced at Huang Lujin and snorted coldly. He didn't waste any more time with him and slapped Huang Lujin to death. Huang Lujin's blood essence was completely merged with the divine tree. Although Huang Lujin had entered the half-step celestial realm with the help of the sword cauldron, his blood essence was still much stronger than the blood essence of the 9 Tribulations Emperor Gu. It was at least equivalent to the blood essence of 10 martial artists at Wu Dao's level. It was enough to increase the divine tree's power by a lot after devouring it. Of course, Huang Lujin's blood essence was far inferior to the sword cauldron. However, it was extremely difficult to obtain a supreme treasure like the sword cauldron. Although Chu Fengmian had obtained many powerful spiritual weapons, they were far inferior to the sword cauldron. Only if Chu Fengmian let the divine tree devour the ancestral dragon supreme sword and the titanic crescent sword would he be able to achieve the same level of improvement as the sword cauldron. However, as a sword cultivator, Chu Fengmian naturally could not abandon his sword. Even if Chu Fengmian obtained a more powerful spiritual sword in the future, he would at most seal these two spiritual swords. It was impossible for him to integrate them into the sacred tree. For a sword cultivator, the sword was a living creature that was a part of his body. However, Chu Fengmian had no qualms about the other spiritual weapons. Suddenly, Chu Fengmian waved his hand and the archaic bronze gate, the gate of Dharma, and the heavenly nine-dragon cauldron appeared behind him. Although these three spiritual weapons were not as good as the sword cauldron, they were the best among the heaven-grade spiritual weapons. Chu Fengmian threw the three spiritual weapons into the divine tree. They were immediately devoured by the divine tree, and the power of the divine tree rose crazily. The jade talisman that contained the power of Heavenly King Wasteland was also thrown into the divine tree to increase its power. In an instant, Chu Fengmian's realm had reached an extremely high level of the Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu. He was only a little bit away from reaching the peak of the Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu. The speed at which this kind of power increased was simply shocking. However, Chu Fengmian knew that this was all because of the divine tree's power. Otherwise, the gate of Dharma, the archaic bronze gate, and the sword cauldron would not be able to fuse with the divine tree. It was impossible for Chu Fengmian to integrate such a powerful spiritual weapon into his body. He could only do so with the help of the divine tree. As the divine tree grew, the power it displayed became more and more powerful. If I can merge the divine tree and the divine tree's secret realm with it, I'm afraid the divine tree will mature immediately. My strength will leap into the celestial realm. No, it might even reach the immortal Marquis or the immortal King realm. Chu Fengmian could not help but think of the divine tree and the divine tree's secret realm. That divine tree was indomitable. No one knew how old it was and how much power it contained. If Chu Fengmian dared to attack the divine tree now, he would be mercilessly crushed by the divine tree. Compared to the divine tree and the divine tree's secret realm, Chu Fengmian's divine tree was still very weak. However, in terms of potential, this young divine tree that had devoured countless supreme treasures was much more powerful than the one in the divine tree's secret realm. Chu Fengmian fed the bronze heavenly demon skeleton, the sword cauldron, the archaic bronze gate, the nine-dragon supreme sword, the gate of Dharma and Logos, and countless blood essences into the divine tree. Chapter 1751. This sacred tree might even grow to the level of the builder tree in the future. However, this was just a distant dream. Once Chu Fengmian was killed, this sacred tree would also die prematurely. However, it was extremely difficult to obtain the sacred tree in the divine tree's secret realm. At the very least, Chu Fengmian's current strength was far from being able to do so. However, even if he could obtain a branch and integrate it into the sacred tree, it would be extremely beneficial. Chu Fengmian's current strength was no longer the same as the last time he went to the divine tree's secret realm. Chu Fengmian could find an opportunity to sneak into the divine tree's secret realm again to take a look. There were countless secrets in the divine tree's secret realm, far more than what Chu Fengmian knew. There must be a big secret hidden within. However, this matter needed to be considered at length. The last time Chu Fengmian went to the divine tree's secret realm, he was just a small figure who could not attract the attention of the big shots of the desolate ancient sect. That was why Chu Fengmian had such a good opportunity to steal the sacred tree. However, Chu Fengmian's identity was completely exposed now. The various methods that Chu Fengmian had used were now known to the 7 major sections. Chu Fengmian rashly going to the divine tree's secret realm at this time was tantamount to courting death. At the very least, he could not act rashly. Oh right, there's also the Heart of Demon Emperor Blood Demon and the Broken Sword. Chu Fengmian had been improving his strength all this time. Suddenly, he thought of the treasures that he had obtained from the Buddhist temple in the Pure Land. The Heart of Demon Emperor Blood Demon, the Broken Sword of the Taichu Sword, and the 6-winged centipede. Among these 3 treasures, the 6-winged centipede's value was slightly lower. However, the heart of Demon Emperor Blood Demon and the broken sword of the Taichu sword were almost more valuable than the sword cauldron. After Chu Fengmian obtained these three treasures, he had not had time to study them carefully. Now that he had some free time, Chu Fengmian suddenly thought of them. Elder Fan. Chu Fengmian called out to Elder Fan, then took out the three treasures. These three treasures were forcibly pulled out of Demon Emperor Blood Demon's body by Chu Fengmian. They were stained with demonic blood. Even though Chu Fengmian had set up layers of restrictions to suppress the demonic will, there was still a shocking demonic will that burst out. The entire Cloud Feather Heavenly Palace was shrouded in demonic will, as though it had turned into a demonic domain. Elder Fan, how do we get rid of the demonic blood on the three artifacts? Chu Fengmian asked as he looked at Old Fan. When he had obtained these three treasures, he had studied them for a while. These three treasures were stained with demonic blood, and it was the demonic blood of the evil Blood Demon Emperor. The power contained within them made Chu Fengmian not dare to touch them. Now that Chu Fengmian was not moving, he could suppress the devil will within the devil blood and not let it affect him. However, the moment Chu Fengmian tried to refine the three treasures, the demon blood on the three treasures would frantically corrode Chu Fengmian. The corrosion of the devil blood was so strong that even Chu Fengmian was unable to resolve it. After a couple of attempts, Chu Fengmian could only return empty-handed. Now, he could only wait and see if Old Fan had any countermeasures. It's easier said than done to resolve the demonic blood of the evil Blood Demon Emperor. If the Taichu sword wasn't broken, I wouldn't be afraid, but now that it's broken, I can't expel the demonic blood from it. Old Fan frowned as he looked at the state of the three treasures. If young master steps into the celestial realm, I'm confident that I can use your power to remove the demonic blood from the Taichu sword. However, this six-winged centipede has been hidden in the heart of the evil Blood Demon Emperor for countless years and has long been corroded by the demonic blood. If you want to completely remove the demonic blood from the six-winged centipede, I'm afraid you'll have to reach the immortal general realm. As for the heart of the evil Blood Demon Emperor, I'm afraid you'll have to reach the celestial saint or immortal sovereign realm before you can remove the demonic blood from it. Old Fan sized up the treasures and said, Celestial realm, immortal general, or even celestial saint, Chu Fengmian couldn't help but frown when he heard Old Fan's words. The celestial realm. Chu Fengmian was still far from reaching the celestial realm. He was only at the level of the 9 Tribulations Emperor Gu. He hadn't even touched the threshold of the half-step celestial realm, let alone the celestial realm. As for the immortal general and celestial saint realms, they were realms that Chu Fengmian couldn't even dream of reaching. In other words, Chu Fengmian could only look at the three treasures without being able to use them. Is there no other way? Chu Fengmian couldn't help but ask. There is, the vitreous aqua crystal. With a large amount of it, the demonic blood can be removed, said Old Fan. Old Fan asked. However, there wasn't much anticipation in his tone. Vitreous aqua crystal. Chu Fengmian's frown deepened. Of course, Chu Fengmian had heard of the vitreous aqua crystal. It was the most precious water in the world and had countless miraculous abilities. It was even rumored that it had the ability to transform a spirit weapon into an extreme immortal weapon. It could be said that the vitreous aqua crystal was a necessary item to refine an extreme immortal weapon. Extreme immortal weapons were extremely rare in any era, and one of the main reasons was that it was impossible to find the vitreous aqua crystal. Even the master of the sword Dao had failed to find the vitreous aqua crystal. The master of the sword Dao had long been able to refine an extreme immortal weapon, but he didn't have the vitreous aqua crystal. Therefore, the titanic divine sword and sword cauldron that he refined were all heaven-grade spirit weapons instead of extreme immortal weapons. It was no wonder that Old Fan sounded as if there was no hope at all. Chu Fengmian was a little discouraged when he heard this. Moreover, according to Old Fan, it would take more than just a little bit of the vitreous aqua crystal to remove the demonic blood, but a large amount. A single drop of the vitreous aqua crystal was enough to make people fight to the death. It rarely appeared in countless eras, so where could Chu Fengmian find a large amount of it? However, Chu Fengmian was willing to give it a try as long as there was a slight chance. I'm afraid that the vitreous aqua crystal might appear in a sect that specializes in water. A single drop of it is enough to create a genius who cultivates water cultivation methods. Chu Fengmian pondered. As for the sects that specialized in water cultivation, Chu Fengmian immediately thought of a faction. Vast Ocean Capital. Chapter 1752. Looks like I have to return to the Daluo star field first. Chu Fengmian's eyes were cold. His enemies were the 7 major sects of the 9 regions, the 3 major forces of the Daluo star field, the old antiques in the Holy Dragon secret dimension, and the young emperor of the demon race. The young emperor of the demon race had obtained the remains of the evil demon emperor and was now hiding in the distant demon domain. Even though Chu Fengmian had stepped into the realm of the 9 tribulations Emperor Gu when his strength was guaranteed, he did not dare to rashly enter the demon domain. It was said that the most ancient demon domain might have celestial realm devils. Even celestial realm experts did not dare to enter. Moreover, the young emperor had obtained the remains of the evil demon emperor. Once he refined it, his strength would skyrocket. Chu Fengmian would not be able to deal with him in a short time. As for the remaining 2 parties, the 7 major sects of the 9 regions all had extremely well-hidden secrets. Judging from the fact that Heavenly King Huang was still alive, there were probably more old antiques in the 7 major sects that were still alive than Chu Fengmian had imagined. Chu Fengmian did not have the confidence to attack the 7 major sections. Moreover, there was the mysterious Tianjiu domain behind the 7 major sections. Chu Fengmian did not forget Jianwang's reminder. The 7 major sects were unable to destroy the Sword Dao sect and kill the master of the Sword Dao. It was the mysterious Tianjiu domain that did it. Before Chu Fengmian had enough strength, he did not dare to act rashly and alert the enemy. After all, the master of the Sword Dao was at the peak of the 9th order immortal. An immortal emperor had fallen just like that. Chu Fengmian did not dare to underestimate the Tianjiu domain. The 4 major forces of the Daluo star field were the easiest to deal with. The 4 major forces were far from the foundation of the 7 major sections. Chu Fengmian was already very clear about the hidden strength within them. The 4 major forces had dealt with Chu Fengmian countless times, and Chu Fengmian had not forgotten. Chu Fengmian had been enduring silently not because the time had not yet come. Now, the time had finally come. Chu Fengmian's figure moved and instantly disappeared from the Cloud Feather Palace. In the central hall of the Sword Dao sect, Han Yueli, Luo Shi, Qing Meng, and Emperor Yan were still discussing many things to restore the sect's operations. Chu Fengmian knew nothing about managing a sect, so he left it to them, mainly the Yan Emperor. The Yan Emperor was once the ruler of the Yanzhou continent and had experience in managing a power. He was much more outstanding than Chu Fengmian when it came to doing these things. Under his management, the Sword Dao sect was constantly recovering its strength. Countless disciples of the Sword Dao sect had gone through a series of life and death battles. Now, they were thirsting for power. They were cultivating crazily to increase their strength. The entire Sword Dao sect was thriving. While the crowd was discussing, suddenly, a figure tore through space and walked out. Countless gazes looked over. "Sect Master, you've come out. What was that arm just now?" Seeing Chu Fengmian appear, Han Yueli hurriedly asked. Just now, when Heavenly King Huang attacked, he tore apart the Sword Dao gate. For a moment, it was as if the heavens and earth were collapsing. Thankfully, Chu Fengmian had borrowed the power of the Sword Origin Realm to force Heavenly King Huang into retreat. Even so, it was still quite frightening. That person is Heavenly King Huang, the sect master of the desolate ancient sect 10,000 years ago. His strength has reached the peak of the half-step celestial realm. He's not easy to deal with. However, I've already injured him and obtained the power of one of his incarnations. Chu Fengmian said calmly. You injured him? Hearing Chu Fengmian's words, everyone in the hall gasped and looked at Chu Fengmian in disbelief. The arm just now suddenly tore open the Sword Dao sect and erupted with an extremely tyrannical power. Even Qing Meng, who was at the peak of the 9 tribulations Emperor Gu, couldn't resist that kind of power. How could such an expert be injured by Chu Fengmian? Countless people were incomparably shocked. Just how powerful had Chu Fengmian become? Ever since Chu Fengmian stepped into the Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu, his strength had far surpassed everyone's. Previously, Qing Meng could still see Chu Fengmian's strength. However, when Qing Meng looked at Chu Fengmian now, it was like a cloud of fog. She couldn't see through Chu Fengmian at all. I just borrowed the power of the sword origin world. However, I should have the strength to force him back outside. Chu Fengmian said again. Now that Chu Fengmian's divine tree had devoured countless supreme treasures, Chu Fengmian's strength had increased a lot. This time, even if he encountered Heavenly King Huang outside the origin world, Chu Fengmian couldn't kill him, but it shouldn't be a problem to force him back. However, the strength that Heavenly King Huang had displayed was only the tip of the iceberg. Chu Fengmian was only guessing. The real result would only be known after they fought. I thought that the 9 regions had declined. I didn't expect that there were still crouching tigers and hidden dragons in the 9 regions. Qing Meng couldn't help but mutter to herself. She saw the strength of the Sword Dao sect. She didn't think much of the warriors of the 9 regions and thought that they had definitely declined. However, now it seemed that the 9 regions had indeed declined. However, the true experts were much more numerous than the Daluo Star Domain. Just Heavenly King Huang alone was extremely terrifying. In the Daluo Star Domain, there were very few people who could contend with Heavenly King Huang. The decline of the 9 regions has only happened in the past 10,000 years. However, there are still some old antiques from 10,000 years ago. However, compared to 10,000 years ago, there are much fewer experts. Chu Fengmian said. 10,000 years ago, the 9 regions still had celestial realm experts. Not to mention the master of the sword Dao, even Chu Fengmian's eldest senior brother, Jianwang, was actually at the 2nd stage of the 9 immortal realm, an immortal warrior realm expert. In the Great War 10,000 years ago, most of the experts of the 9 regions had fallen. Only a few had survived. It seems that establishing a sect in the 9 regions is indeed extremely dangerous. With such tyrannical figures in the 7 great sects, I'm afraid that it will be difficult for us to deal with the next attack. Luo Shi also said. There were 2 attacks in a row, and each attack was fiercer than the previous one. The strength of the 7 great sects was far from being fully displayed. Now, in the Sword Dao sect, only Chu Fengmian could contend with a half-step celestial realm expert. The others had no way to contend with him. If Chu Fengmian didn't make a move, Heavenly King Huang alone could sweep away the current Sword Dao sect. Of course, this was the result of the Sword Origin world not making a move. It wouldn't be a problem for the Sword Origin world to force 1 or 2 half-step celestial realm experts to retreat. In the short term, the 7 great sects won't attack. Now that the 9 regions are in chaos, the 7 great sects won't dare to attack the Sword Dao sect. Chu Fengmian said calmly. Chapter 1753. The 7 major sects dared to attack the Sword Dao sect in such a grand manner because they felt that the Sword Dao sect's strength was not worth mentioning. They could easily crush the Sword Dao sect without paying a huge price. However, now that Chu Fengmian had broken through to the 9 tribulations, Emperor Gu had used the Sword Origin world to force Heavenly King Huang to retreat. If the 7 major sects wanted to attack the Sword Dao sect again and completely destroy it, they would need at least 5 half-step Sky-Human Realm experts. Moreover, it was very likely that 2 or 3 of the half-step Sky-Human Realm experts would fall in this battle. The 7 major sects could not bear such a loss. If the 7 major sects really lost so many experts, they would not be able to maintain their position as the overlords of the 9 regions. Therefore, Chu Fengmian dared to conclude that the 7 major sects would not attack him in a short period of time. They could only wait for the 9 regions crisis to pass before they could regroup and deal with Chu Fengmian. Now that the 9 regions were in chaos, it gave Chu Fengmian and the Sword Dao sect a chance to breathe. During this period of time, Chu Fengmian had to raise his strength at all costs. He had to raise the strength of the people around Chu Fengmian and the entire Sword Dao sect. I'm going to make a trip back to the Holy Dragon Secret Realm. Chu Fengmian suddenly spoke while everyone was pondering over his words. Return to the Holy Dragon Secret Realm? These words caused Qing Meng's group to be startled. However, they instantly understood the meaning behind Chu Fengmian's words. Chu Fengmian was going to attack the Holy Dragon Secret Realm. Taking a beating without fighting back was not Chu Fengmian's style. The three major sects had a grudge with the Holy Dragon Secret Realm. It was reasonable for them to deal with Chu Fengmian. However, the Holy Dragon sect was also a part of the Holy Dragon Secret Realm. The people of the Sacred Academy sect and the Six Ultimates sect actually disregarded their friendship and came to deal with the Holy Dragon sect. They even colluded with the other three major sects of the Daluo Star Field to deal with the Holy Dragon sect. Compared to the three major sects, the Sacred Academy sect and the Six Ultimates sect were even more despicable. There was also the Law Enforcement Hall and the Sword Comprehension Hall. However, there were still old figures in the two halls. If they were not killed in the Holy Dragon Secret Realm, they would sooner or later become hidden dangers. The first thing that Chu Fengmian needed to deal with was the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm. I'll go with you, Qing Meng said directly. She had long wanted to make a move on the Sacred Academy sect and the Six Ultimates sect, but she didn't have the chance. This time, she wouldn't miss it. All right. Chu Fengmian nodded. Qing Meng knew more about the Holy Dragon Mystery Domain than Chu Fengmian. Moreover, this time, Chu Fengmian was going back to deal with more than just the Sacred Academy sect and the Six Ultimates sect. The other three forces of the Daluo Star Field were also part of Chu Fengmian's plan. Qing Meng's understanding of the three forces far surpassed Chu Fengmian's. With her help, Chu Fengmian would be much more confident. Yueli, Luoshi, the two of you stay in the Sword Dao sect and strive to step into the realm of Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu as soon as possible, or even the half-step Celestial Realm. Chu Fengmian looked at Han Yueli and Luoshi and said. At the same time, with a thought, a message was transmitted to their minds. This is? Both of them were startled when they saw the message Chu Fengmian sent them. This was the method to control the power of the Origin Sword World. Since Chu Fengmian had created the Origin Sword World, only he could control it. However, Chu Fengmian could also create a method to pass it on to someone he trusted to control the power of the Origin Sword World. If an enemy invaded and Chu Fengmian wasn't around, the power of the Origin Sword World could be used to deal with the enemy. The Origin Sword World was the foundation of the Sword Dao sect and was of the utmost importance. The candidates had to be the people Chu Fengmian trusted the most. Of course, it was Han Yueli and Luoshi. Both of them were Chu Fengmian's women and had experienced countless battles of life and death with him. Chu Fengmian trusted them unconditionally, so he passed on the method to them. This way, when Chu Fengmian left the Origin Sword World, the two of them could use the power of the Origin Sword World to resist the enemy. Even if Heavenly King Huang dared to attack the Origin Sword World again, the power of the Origin Sword World would be enough to force him to retreat. Little Nine, stay as well. With a thought, Chu Fengmian woke up Little Nine, who had been sleeping in the sacred tree. Little Nine, who had been sleeping on the sacred tree all this time, had benefited greatly from the transformation of the sacred tree. Chu Fengmian could sense that at least 30% of the sacred tree's power had been devoured by Little Nine. However, Chu Fengmian wasn't going to hold it against Little Nine. After all, Little Nine was also a member of the Sword Dao sect and had put in a lot of effort in the previous battle. He deserved it. Besides, once Little Nine grew up, he would be even more terrifying than the sacred tree. Little Nine was awakened by Chu Fengmian and looked at him unhappily. However, he still jumped from Chu Fengmian's body to Luoshi's. Little Nine and Chu Fengmian's minds were connected. Chu Fengmian didn't need to say anything for Little Nine to know what he meant. Besides Little Nine, Chu Fengmian also left behind dozens of empty rings. These were the empty rings that the seven great sects Emperor Gu had obtained when he had killed them. These empty rings contained a lot of resources and treasures. Many of these treasures were useful for breaking through to the half-step celestial realm. Chu Fengmian could also give them to Han Yueli, Luoshi, and the others for their cultivation. As for Emperor Yan, he was now the steward of the Sword Dao sect and had no time to spare. He would also get a share of these resources. It was a benefit for him. After settling everything, Chu Fengmian looked at Qing Meng. "Let's go." Whoosh! The two figures disappeared from the origin world in an instant. They had concealed their figures so that even a half-step celestial realm expert wouldn't be able to detect that Chu Fengmian had left the origin world. Two streaks of light shot up into the sky. Colorless flames emerged from Chu Fengmian's body and surrounded Chu Fengmian and Luo Shi. The ninefold heavenly fire couldn't cause any harm to Chu Fengmian and Qing Meng. When we go back this time, we must eradicate the Sacred Academy sect and the Six Ultimates sect. Senior brother Long Qianjue is being pressured by the experts of these two sections. They want him to open up the Holy Dragon sect's mountain and hand over countless resources. They want to destroy the Holy Dragon sect. We can't let these two sects go. Qing Meng shouted angrily. Her voice was filled with anger. Qing Meng had grown up in the Holy Dragon sect and had a deep affection for the sect. Now that the Sacred Academy sect and the Six Ultimates sect were closing in on the Holy Dragon sect, she was furious. Don't worry. None of the people from these two sects can escape. Also, if the old antiques of the Five Spirits sect and the Eight Halls don't know what's good for them, they will be buried together with them. Chu Fengmian said coldly with a boundless domineering aura. In the future, the Holy Dragon's secret territory can only be ruled by the Holy Dragon sect. Chapter 1754. Qing Meng and Chu Fengmian's figures flickered as they left the 9 regions and arrived in the starry sky. With Chu Fengmian and Qing Meng's current strength, they didn't need any spiritual weapons to cross the starry sky. The turbulence in the starry sky was no different from scratching an itch on Chu Fengmian's body. When Chu Fengmian went to the Sacred Dragon secret domain for the first time, he had to rely on the power of the Jade Talisman refined in the Sacred Dragon secret domain. Now, Chu Fengmian could cross the starry sky without blinking his eyes. Of course, it was said that those who had reached the heavenly human realm could tear the galaxy apart and cross thousands of miles in an instant. Those who had reached that level only needed a moment to go from the 9 regions to the Sacred Dragon secret domain. With Chu Fengmian's current strength, he couldn't do that. However, Chu Fengmian had the bloodline of primogenitor Jianwang, so he had a deep understanding of the Tao of space. Others might have to reach the heavenly human realm to perform such means, but Chu Fengmian might be able to do it at the half-step heavenly human realm. The 9 regions were very close to the Daluotian star field. When the 9 regions were still sacred grounds, the Daluotian star field was very close to the 9 regions and had given birth to many tyrannical existences. However, with the decline of the 9 regions, the Daluotian star field had also declined and was no different from the other star fields. In just 2 hours, Chu Fengmian and Qing Meng had crossed thousands of miles in the starry sky. Chu Fengmian and Qing Meng had encountered a spatial storm. Even the 9 Tribulations Emperor Gu had the possibility of dying if he was caught in it. This was also one of the greatest dangers in crossing the endless starry sky. However, with Chu Fengmian's current strength, he could tear the spatial storm apart with his bare hands. Chu Fengmian continued to move forward. There was nothing that could stop Chu Fengmian and Qing Meng. In 2 hours, a long river was reflected in Chu Fengmian's eyes. This long river was extremely wide and was located in the starry sky. It was endless and contained an incomparably terrifying power. The heavenly star river that guards the Sacred Dragon secret domain. Chu Fengmian had seen this long river when he first came to the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane. The entire Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane was located in this long river. This long river was the barrier that had always protected the Sacred Dragon Mystery Realm. It was enough to stop enemies from invading. Every disciple that entered the Holy Dragon Mystery Ground had to reveal their identity and let the Heavenly Star River open before they could enter. If one wanted to barge in forcefully, they would suffer the merciless bombardment of this starry river. Should we reveal our identities? Qing Meng stopped when she saw Tianxinghe and asked Chu Fengmian hesitantly. The Heavenly Star River was one of the wonders of the world. It was an extremely unique existence that was born from the Heavenly Star River. It wasn't a spiritual weapon, but it had the power of a heaven-grade spiritual weapon. The Sky Star River was much more powerful than any protective mountain array. According to the records of the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension, several Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu had joined forces but were unable to break through the heavenly galaxy. Instead, they were killed by the heavenly galaxy's power. Therefore, there was no protective mountain array in the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. With the Heavenly Star River, it was more powerful than any protective mountain array. In terms of foundation, the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension had a much deeper foundation than the other three major forces of the Daluo star field. For example, there were countless battles in the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. It was enough to be on equal footing with the other three major forces. It also had the 1,000-mile stone dragon and the Heavenly Star River. All these were enough to show the strength of the creator of the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. Even Qing Meng, who had stepped into the peak of the Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu, looked at the Heavenly Star River with fear. She didn't dare to barge in rashly. Instead, she asked for Chu Fengmian's opinion. The current Chu Fengmian had unknowingly become the backbone of everyone. Chu Fengmian was the one who made the decision. Reveal our identities? No need. This time, we're here to destroy the Sacred Academy sect and the Six Ultimate sect. There's no need to be courteous with them. The Heavenly Star River is a good treasure. If integrated into the source world, it'll be enough to increase the defensive capabilities of the Origin Sword world by countless times. Chu Fengmian sized up the Sky Star River. With his current strength, seeing the Sky Star River again was no longer as illusory as the first time Chu Fengmian had come to the Sacred Dragon Mystery Domain. Chu Fengmian saw everything that was happening inside the Heavenly Star River. He could see that the Heavenly Star River should be a world that hadn't been completely condensed. Once it developed again, it would become a small world, an existence similar to the sinkhole sky. However, when the Heavenly Star River was transforming, it was forcibly taken away by a tyrannical figure, which made it unable to continue accumulating power and transform into a small world. In essence, the Heavenly Star River was actually a small world that was about to be born. If integrated into the source world, it would be enough to completely transform the Origin Sword world. Not only could it increase the power of the Origin Sword world, but it could also expand the space of the Origin Sword world. Although the Origin Sword world was an independent world, it was still too small compared to a small world like the Sinkhole Sky. In the future, with the development of the Sword Dao sect, space would be limited. The Heavenly Star River was a good thing to integrate into the Origin Sword world and expand it. Chu Fengmian didn't have any good feelings towards the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. Today, he would first take the Heavenly Star River. As Chu Fengmian spoke, his figure flickered and entered the Heavenly Star River. Once an outsider entered the Heavenly Star River, it would activate its power and kill all intruders. Rumble. In the Heavenly Star River, waves surged towards Chu Fengmian. However, these waves were not made of water, but of spiritual power. An incomparably tyrannical spiritual power came crashing down on Chu Fengmian from all directions. It's nothing. It's just a small world that hasn't transformed. In terms of power, it's far inferior to the Origin Sword world. Chu Fengmian sneered. The Origin Sword world was a sacred land. Although it was a newly born sacred land, in terms of power, it was more powerful than some small worlds. The Heavenly Star River was just a small world that hadn't been fully condensed. After witnessing the power of the Origin Sword world, the power of the Heavenly Star River was not worth mentioning. In the face of the surging waves, Chu Fengmian didn't dodge or use his spiritual sword. Instead, he grabbed at them. Chapter 1755. The gravel was the condensation of the power of the Heavenly Star River. The spiritual power contained in each gravel was purer than that of a divine-grade spiritual stone. It was the source of power of a small world. Chu Fengmian casually collected the spiritual power of the Heavenly Star River, subduing it in the blink of an eye and holding the source of power in his hand. This kind of method was simply shocking and unimaginably tyrannical. Even Qing Meng was dumbfounded. If the power of the Heavenly Star River bombarded her, she could only protect herself to avoid being killed by the mighty power of the Heavenly Star River. As for resisting the attack of the Heavenly Star River, it was impossible for her to do so with her strength. But now, Chu Fengmian was able to neutralize the bombardment of the Heavenly Star River and even directly collect the source of power of the Heavenly Star River. Such strength was something that not even a half-step celestial being expert could do. That's right. Even other half-step celestial being experts could not collect the source of power of the Heavenly Star River like Chu Fengmian. At most, they could only neutralize the bombardment of the Heavenly Star River. Collecting the source of power of the Heavenly Star River was something that only a celestial being could do. However, when Chu Fengmian was condensing the Saint Land, he also understood the various mysteries of the small world. With a casual move, he grasped the source of the Heavenly Star River and collected a part of it. However, the part of the source that Chu Fengmian collected was only 100,000th of the true power of the Heavenly Star River. What Chu Fengmian wanted to do today was not just to extract the power of the Heavenly Star River, but to obtain the entire Heavenly Star River and move it to the Origin Sword world to protect it. Continue to absorb. Above Chu Fengmian's head, the power of the heaven-devouring secret technique was fully activated. The power of the heaven-devouring secret technique was said to be able to devour the heavens. The Heavenly Star River was just a small world that had yet to be condensed. It was just a prototype of a small world. The legendary heaven-devouring secret technique could even devour worlds like the 9 regions. How could this small Heavenly Star River withstand the power of the heaven-devouring secret technique? As the power of the heaven-devouring secret technique was activated, an endless amount of power was absorbed from the Heavenly Star River and poured into the heaven-devouring secret technique. Under the transformation of the devouring heaven's power, they all turned into grains of sand similar to the ones in Chu Fengmian's palm. Chu Fengmian wanted to use this heaven-devouring power to devour the Heavenly Star River. According to the records, the ancient creator of the sacred dragon mystery plane had moved the Heavenly Star River from a distant star domain. Shifting a small world, this kind of ability, Chu Fengmian was still far from being able to achieve. However, he controlled the heaven-devouring mystic technique, which was sufficient to completely devour the power of this Heavenly Star River. Once he returned to the Origin Sword world, he could merge the power of the Heavenly Astral River with the Origin Sword world and have the Heavenly Astral River protect it. The speed at which the sky-devouring secret technique was being absorbed wasn't the same as Chu Fengmian's. The power of the entire Heavenly Star River was being drained at a crazy rate. Many experts who were cultivating in the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension had sensed this abnormality. The Heavenly Star River was the natural barrier of the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. In terms of status, it was almost equivalent to the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension's protective array. The abnormality of the Heavenly Star River was instantly detected by many people. Who are you? You dare to attack the Holy Dragon Mystery Plane? Are you tired of living? Swoosh! A figure flew out from the depths of the Heavenly Star River. This figure contained an extremely tyrannical dragon's might. When he saw Chu Fengmian absorbing the Heavenly Star River, he blasted a palm at Chu Fengmian. This palm already contained some of the power of the 9 moves of the primogenitor. It was already very close to the first move of the primogenitor. The person who had attacked was an old man. Although he looked very old, the life force on his body was much stronger than many young people's. Chu Fengmian recognized at a glance that the person who attacked was Emperor Jianwang, the Hall Master of the Thousand Dragon Hall. Emperor Jianwang had taken action when Chu Fengmian was fighting with the Law Enforcement Hall. He wanted to take advantage of the situation, but Qing Meng destroyed the Thousand Dragon Hall instead, causing him to lose everything. However, it seemed that Emperor Jianwang had also gained a lot of benefits. His realm had already stepped into the realm of the 9 tribulations Emperor Gu, and he had already comprehended some of the mysteries of the 9 moves of the primogenitor. His strength had improved by leaps and bounds. If this continued, he would soon become one of the higher-ups in the Sacred Dragon Secret Dimension. However, for the current Chu Fengmian, even if Emperor Wanwang had stepped into the half-step celestial being realm, Chu Fengmian would not put him in his eyes, let alone the fact that Emperor Wanwang had stepped into the Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu. Emperor Wanwang, you've come at the right time. I didn't manage to kill you last time. This time, let's settle our grudges. Chu Fengmian looked at Emperor Wanwang with boundless killing intent in his eyes. He had no enmity with Emperor Wanwang, but Emperor Wanwang wanted to take advantage of the situation to rob the sacred dragon sect. Since he dared to oppose Chu Fengmian, he was already a dead man. Previously, Chu Fengmian did not have a chance to kill him because of the existence of Emperor Wanwang. Now was the perfect time. Destroy. Most of Chu Fengmian's power was still channeling the sky-devouring secret technique to devour the heavenly star river. He only separated a small part of his power and placed it on the tip of his finger. When he pointed it out, the dragon's might was vast and mighty. Even if it was just a small part of Chu Fengmian's power, it contained mysteries that far surpassed the martial technique that Emperor Wanwang had executed. Given Chu Fengmian's current strength and comprehension, he could execute the most perfect second form of the primogenitor with a casual strike. Given Chu Fengmian's current strength, he could already comprehend the third form of the primogenitor. In fact, he could even comprehend the fourth and fifth form. He had returned to the sacred dragon's secret realm. One of the reasons why Chu Fengmian wanted the sacred dragon's secret realm to submit to him was because of the 1,000-mile stone dragon and the statue of primogenitor Jianwang. In terms of mysteries, the 9 forms of the primogenitor were even more powerful than the 9 mysterious sword art. It was comparable to the first sword emperor's first sword art. Chu Fengmian cultivated both the dragon sword and the dragon emperor's bloodline was the foundation of his power. He would never give it up. After cultivating the 9 forms of the primogenitor, his dragon emperor's bloodline would become even more powerful. Chu Fengmian casually pointed out a finger and an overwhelming dragon's might descended and shrouded Emperor Wanwang. The dragon's might that had gathered on Emperor Wanwang's body was mercilessly crushed and he spat out a large amount of blood essence. The difference between Emperor Wanwang's power and Chu Fengmian's was like the difference between a worm and a real dragon. Chu Fengmian's first move was a killing move that contained murderous intent. This time, he had come to collect the Heavenly Star River and had completely torn off the skin of the sacred dragon's secret realm. Even if there were more powerful old antiques in the 1,000 Dragon Hall, Chu Fengmian was not afraid. He exerted force with his finger and Emperor Wanwang's body exploded in the air. Chapter 1756. Chu Fengmian. It's you! How did you become so strong? The myriad dragon's emperor roared in disbelief when he finally saw Chu Fengmian's figure clearly after his body was shattered. The last time he saw Chu Fengmian was only on equal footing with him. He thought that he could kill Chu Fengmian the next time he fought with him after a fortuitous encounter. However, he didn't expect that he wouldn't even be qualified to fight with Chu Fengmian. At least I'll let you know who killed you. Now, it's time for you to die. Chu Fengmian's eyes were cold. He purposely let Emperor Wanwang know that it was Chu Fengmian who killed him. Otherwise, with Chu Fengmian's current strength, Emperor Wanwang would be killed by Chu Fengmian before he could even react. With Chu Fengmian's current strength, he could even kill a half-step celestial being, let alone a puny Emperor Wanwang. The moment Chu Fengmian spoke, he exerted force with his finger. Emperor Wanwang's body exploded in the starry sky. Blood splattered everywhere. Before he could fly away, he was mercilessly pulled into the heaven-devouring secret technique by a force. Emperor Wanwang's blood essence was devoured by the heaven-devouring secret technique. There was no chance for him to be resurrected. Emperor Wanwang had fallen. Qing Meng had mixed feelings when she saw this scene. Emperor Wanwang was the Hall Master of 1,000 Dragon Hall. As one of the 8 Hall Masters, he had a high status in the sacred dragon's secret realm. If he took another step forward, he would be one of the higher-ups in the sacred dragon's secret realm. However, he was destined to die the moment he chose to be Chu Fengmian's enemy. Emperor Wanwang was just a nobody in Chu Fengmian's eyes. After killing Emperor Jianwang, Chu Fengmian's attention was still on the Heavenly Star River. He wanted to collect the Heavenly Star River first, then enter the Sacred Dragon's secret realm to settle the score with the others. In a short period of time, Chu Fengmian had collected more than half of the origin source of the Heavenly Star River. The entire Heavenly Star River was shaking violently, trying to resist Chu Fengmian's collection. The entire Sacred Dragon's secret realm was shaking non-stop, as if doomsday had arrived. What's going on? Who is attacking the Heavenly Star River? Several more figures flew out from the Sacred Dragon Mystery Domain. Many of the old antiques who had been cultivating in the Sacred Dragon Mystery Domain had awakened due to the tremors of the Heavenly Star River. Many of these people were Chu Fengmian's acquaintances. The Hall Master of the Sword Comprehension Hall, the previous Hall Master of the Sword Comprehension Hall, Emperor Gu of Luojian, and the Emperor of 10,000 Dragons were all present. Of course, among these people, there were many who were even stronger than them. It was just that Chu Fengmian had never seen them before. These people should be the mysterious upper echelons of the Holy Dragon Mystery Domain. Normally, they would not appear in the Holy Dragon Mystery Domain. In the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension, once one stepped into the Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu, he would be promoted to the upper echelons and concentrate on cultivating in seclusion to break through to the half-step celestial being stage. He would not show himself unless there was something important. This time, the commotion caused by Chu Fengmian collecting the Heavenly Star River was so great that it woke up all the old antiques who had been in seclusion. The blood essence of the Emperor of 10,000 Dragons. Is the Emperor of 10,000 Dragons dead? The Emperor of 10,000 Dragons flew out and immediately smelled the faint smell of blood in the surroundings. His face changed drastically as he said, "That's right. The Emperor of 10,000 Dragons wanted to divide the Holy Dragon sect. His crime is unforgivable. I killed him." Chu Fengmian's figure slowly appeared in front of the crowd. However, he still left the sky-devouring secret skill in the Heavenly Star River to devour the source of the Heavenly Star River. Qing Meng also appeared and stood beside Chu Fengmian. She looked at the group of people with boundless killing intent in her eyes. Dealing with the Holy Dragon sect was not something a small law enforcement hall or 10,000 Dragons Hall could do. The Holy Dragon sect had been targeted repeatedly in the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. It must be the intention of the upper echelons of the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. These upper echelons were the Holy Dragon sect's enemies. Chu Fengmian, Qing Meng. Are the two of you planning to go against your superiors and betray the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension? The Emperor of 10,000 Dragons stepped out from the crowd. He looked at Chu Fengmian and Qing Meng and shouted angrily. The Emperor of 10,000 Dragons has been promoted to Emperor Gu of the Nine Tribulations. He is one of the upper echelons of the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. How dare you kill him? This is treason. Even if the Emperor of 10,000 Dragons made a mistake, he is not someone you can kill. You will have to go through our trial. The two of you killed the Emperor of 10,000 Dragons without permission. Killing a fellow sect member is a heinous crime. Now, kneel down and admit your mistake. Otherwise, the Holy Dragon sect can only wait to be destroyed. The Emperor of 10,000 Dragons' words were forceful. The people standing beside him were all the upper echelons of the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. Even if they could sense that Chu Fengmian and Qing Meng's strength was not what it used to be, they were still arrogant. Chu Fengmian, Qing Meng, how dare the two of you attack the Heavenly Star River today? You are a traitor. Even Long Chenjue can't protect you. The previous Hall Master of the Sword Comprehension Hall, Emperor Gu of Luojian, stepped out and shouted loudly. Quickly kneel down and submit to our trial. This is your only way out. Otherwise, based on what you have done, the Holy Dragon sect will be destroyed tomorrow. The two of you will be the main culprits behind the destruction of the Holy Dragon sect. Among the upper echelons of the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension, there were many people who wanted to destroy the Holy Dragon sect. Since they were not from the Holy Dragon sect, they naturally did not want to see the Holy Dragon sect maintain its superior status. Therefore, thousands of years ago, they had been targeting the Holy Dragon sect and oppressing it. It was only until Yunzun's rise that the Holy Dragon sect's status improved. However, after Yunzun's disappearance, the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension continued to oppress the Holy Dragon sect. Today, Chu Fengmian had killed the Emperor of 10,000 Dragons, which gave them an excellent excuse to take advantage of this opportunity to destroy the Holy Dragon sect. The people of the Holy Dragon sect are all evil. In my opinion, it should be destroyed. Otherwise, who knows how many evil demons will be born? Among the upper echelons, an old man spoke slowly. This old man had the demeanor of a transcendent being, and he had the temperament of a scholar. However, when this person spoke, his voice was extremely sharp. It was very different from his appearance. After the elder finished speaking, he looked at Chu Fengmian and Qing Meng. The greed in his eyes was not concealed. Moreover, these evil demons of the Holy Dragon sect should be locked up and used as slaves. The Holy Dragon sect has sucked a lot of blood from the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. Now is the time to make them pay and repay the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. Chapter 1757. This elder seemed to hold a high position in the upper echelon of the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension. Chu Fengmian saw that this elder's cultivation had reached the level of an unrivaled emperor. His strength was on par with Wu Dao's. Many of the upper echelon of the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension nodded at the elder's words. They had long wanted to obtain the accumulated resources of the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension. They could find an excuse to destroy the Holy Dragon sect. All these things belong to them. The Holy Dragon sect is now a malignant tumor. It should be removed. I agree. Another old man said with a nod. That's right. In my opinion, the Holy Dragon sect is not fit to be the top sect in the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension. Only the Holy Academy sect is qualified. These two disciples of the Holy Dragon sect killed their fellow disciples. They are evil. They must be locked up and judged. Humph, what trial? To deal with such heinous criminals, just kill them directly. They all have amazing fortuitous encounters. Kill them and take away their fortuitous encounters. Kill them? That's too easy on them. We should lock them up and take away their fortuitous encounters. We should demote them to slaves so that we can use them well. That's right. Just the two of them are not enough to wash away their sins. We should capture all the disciples of the Holy Dragon sect. That Long Qinjue and Luokang should be captured and demoted to slaves. The upper echelon of the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension spoke one after another. Countless evil plans were revealed without any concealment. It was a feast to divide up the Holy Dragon sect. Not a single person objected. Everyone was making suggestions, calculating gains and losses. The elder who spoke earlier looked at Chu Fengmian and Qing Meng and said in a sharp voice. It seems that no one has any objections to this trial. That's great. From today onwards, the Holy Dragon sect will be destroyed. All the disciples of the Holy Dragon sect will be locked up and stripped of their fortuitous encounters. They will be demoted to slaves and will work for the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension. Yuan Shan, are you courting death? Qing Meng furiously shouted when she heard what the old man called Yuan Shan said. Frightening killing intent burst out from her body. She was itching to attack and kill Yuan Shan right now. How dare you? Yuan Shan shouted coldly. This is the decision made by the upper echelon of the Sacred Dragon Mystical Ground. Every disciple of the Sacred Dragon Mystical Ground has to obey it. You too should kneel down at once and reflect on your actions, which might reduce your sins. No one can go against the decision of the upper echelons of the Holy Dragon Mystery Plane. This has been the rule since ancient times. Are you planning to go against it? That's right. You dare to go against the decision of the Holy Dragon Secret Plane's upper echelon? You're going against the entire Holy Dragon Secret Plane. I advise you to admit your crimes obediently and not resist. Emperor Gu, Luo Jian, sneered and said. High-level orders? What a joke. What's the use of so-called orders from the higher-ups who are about to cease to exist? Chu Fengmian, who had been silent all this while, suddenly spoke. Bastard, what are you saying? The Emperor of 10,000 Dragons glared at Chu Fengmian and said angrily. All the decisions of the Holy Dragon Mystery Ground are made by the upper echelons. What, do you still dare to resist? Resist? A disdainful smile appeared on Chu Fengmian's face when he heard the myriad dragon's emperor's words. I'm saying that from today onward, there will be no more upper echelons. All of you will die here today. The Holy Dragon Mystery Plane will have to undergo a great purge. Chu Fengmian could tell that the upper echelons of the Holy Dragon Mystery Plane were colluding with each other. They had never cared about the Holy Dragon Mystery Plane, and had only worked together for their own benefits. Such upper echelons were the real cancer of the Holy Dragon Mystery Plane. It was no wonder that the Holy Dragon Mystery Plane had been declining for so long. They were not even aware that the three great factions were planning to destroy the Holy Dragon Mystery Plane. Such upper echelons were useless. If Chu Fengmian wanted to take control of the Holy Dragon Mystery Plane, these upper echelons would be his first targets. How dare you? How dare you? The Emperor of 10,000 Dragons almost fainted after hearing Chu Fengmian's words. This brat dares to challenge the authority of the upper echelons. He must be killed. That's right, kill him. Kill this brat. No. He wanted to demote him to the lowest of slaves. Torture him. The upper echelons of the Holy Dragon Mystery Plane were enraged after hearing Chu Fengmian's words. They were usually high and mighty in the Holy Dragon Mystery Plane. Every word they said was the truth, and no one dared to defy them. Chu Fengmian's words were challenging their boundless authority. Yuan Yan, Yuan Mo, Yuan Qian, attack and kill this brat. Yuan Shan let out a long howl. Suddenly, three figures appeared and fiercely grabbed at Chu Fengmian. The Yuan family was one of the great families in the Sacred Academy sect. Yuan Shan was the vice-sect leader of the Sacred Academy sect, and had an extremely high status. Yuan Yan, Yuan Mo, and Yuan Qian's strength had almost reached the level of invincible sovereign. They were the three supreme elders of the Sacred Academy sect. Now, they attacked Chu Fengmian together with thunderous force. The three of them did not intend to kill Chu Fengmian, but to suppress him. It was as if they were going to demote Chu Fengmian to a slave, just like what they had said earlier. The three from the Yuan family were connected by blood. Every attack contained terrifying power. Even a half-step celestial being would have to retreat. People from the Sacred Academy sect? They deserve to die. There shouldn't be any disciples of the Sacred Academy sect in the future in the Holy Dragon Mystery Plane. Chu Fengmian already knew the identity of everyone present from Qing Meng's voice transmission. The Sacred Academy sect was the biggest enemy of the Holy Dragon sect. The first one Chu Fengmian wanted to destroy was the Sacred Academy sect. The fact that he was besieged by the disciples of the three major forces was also related to the Sacred Academy sect. Seeing the three of them attacking together, Chu Fengmian sneered. He casually threw out a palm attack. The second move of the primogenitor. The power of the second move of the primogenitor that Chu Fengmian had just thrown out had reached an earth-shattering level. In the boundless galaxy, dragon power gathered, and a dragon claw slammed down. The dragon claw was thousands of miles long. It was no different from the dragon claw of the real primogenitor, Jianwang. As the claw slammed down, it contained vast dragon power. It was not something the three from the Yuan family could resist. In an instant, the three of them were sent flying. The moment they were sent flying, a wave of sky-devouring secret skill exploded in their bodies. Their essence blood was immediately sucked dry. Then, their bodies disappeared from the sky. In one move, the three from the Yuan family were mercilessly killed. This scene shocked everyone present. This is the power of a half-step celestial being? How is this possible? How old is this kid? How can he have such strength? Chapter 1758. With the 3 Yuan family members joining forces, even if they encountered a half-step celestial realm expert, they could still hold their own. This was also the trump card of the Yuan family as one of the major families in the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension, although they did not have a half-step celestial realm expert. But now, they were all killed by Chu Fengmian in one move. This was definitely an ability that only a half-step celestial realm expert could possess. The upper echelons of the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension were shocked. Only Qing Meng remained calm. Chu Fengmian was someone who could kill hundreds of Emperor Gu and the 7 major sects Emperor Gu with one move. Killing the 3 Yuan family members was as easy as eating and drinking for Chu Fengmian. This kid is indeed a monster. He has grown to such an extent in such a short period of time. A half-step celestial realm expert, we must use the power of the Heavenly Star River. Use the Heavenly Star River to suppress this kid. When the upper echelons of the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension saw Chu Fengmian's strength, their eyes were still cold. After discussing for a while, each of them suddenly took out a jade talisman. These jade talismans seemed to be refined by the same person as they emitted various auras. The moment these jade talismans appeared, Chu Fengmian felt the power of the Heavenly Star River go berserk. These jade talismans could actually activate the power of the Heavenly Star River. When the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension's founder moved the Heavenly Star River to this galaxy, he also considered how to control the power of the Heavenly Star River and refine these jade talismans. These jade talismans had the ability to control the Heavenly Star River. This was also the reason why the upper echelons of the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension could dominate the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension. The power of the Heavenly Star River could even suppress a half-step celestial realm expert. If they controlled the Heavenly Star River, they would not be afraid of anyone resisting them. If anyone dared to resist them, they could activate the power of the Heavenly Star River to suppress them. However, this time, they miscalculated. No matter how they activated the power of the jade talismans, the power of the Heavenly Star River did not move at all. What's going on? Why can't we activate the power of the Heavenly Star River? Countless upper echelons of the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension looked at each other, their eyes were filled with shock. The Heavenly Star River was one of their greatest trump cards to control the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension. However, no matter how hard they tried to activate the power within the Jade Talisman, the power of the Sky Star River did not descend. It was as if the power of the Heavenly Star River had completely disappeared. Unable to control the power of the Heavenly Star River, Chu Fengmian looked at the desolate upper echelons of the Sacred Dragon Secret Plane and said with a smile, "Then let me show you the power of the Heavenly Star River." With a single thought from Chu Fengmian, surging spiritual power suddenly condensed in the Heavenly Starry River, turning into waves that surged out. Seeing this scene, the expressions of the upper echelons of the Holy Dragon Mystic Realm were originally filled with incomparable joy. However, in the next instant, their expressions all froze. The waves formed by the condensation of the Heavenly Star River's spiritual power descended. However, they did not attack Chu Fengmian at all. Instead, they surged towards the higher-ups of the Sacred Dragon Secret Domain. While Chu Fengmian was dealing with the 3 from the Yuan family, he was also using the Sky-Devouring Secret technique to devour the power of the Sky Star River. Now that Chu Fengmian had control over the core of the Heavenly Star River, it could be said that the Heavenly Star River was now in the palm of Chu Fengmian's hand. These Jade Talismans were merely tools to communicate with the Heavenly Star River. If the Heavenly Star River was an ownerless object, the upper echelons of the Holy Dragon Secret Plane could still control it a little. However, now that the Heavenly Star River was in the palm of Chu Fengmian's hand, no matter how they used the power of the Jade Talismans, they could not activate the power of the Heavenly Star River. These upper echelons of the Holy Dragon Secret Plane had used the power of the Heavenly Star River to kill countless enemies. Even with Long Chanjua's strength, he was still suppressed to the point of suffocation. To a large extent, it was because of the power of the Heavenly Star River. Chu Fengmian's control over the Heavenly Star River was no different from removing the firewood from under the cauldron. Without the Heavenly Star River, the group of 9 Tribulations Emperor Gu were merely ants in Chu Fengmian's eyes. Die! With a single thought from Chu Fengmian, the Heavenly Star River obeyed his command and charged towards the upper echelons of the Holy Dragon's secret domain. The enormous power wanted to engulf everyone. In an instant, all the upper echelons of the Holy Dragon's secret domain were engulfed by the power of the Heavenly Star River. The power of the Heavenly Star River could even kill a half-step celestial realm elite. Not to mention the 9 Tribulations Emperor Gu. They could become the upper echelons of the Holy Dragon's secret domain because they could use the power of the Jade Talismans to control the Heavenly Star River. Now that the Heavenly Star River had fallen into Chu Fengmian's hands, they had lost their greatest reliance. Now that they were engulfed by the Heavenly Star River, they could not resist at all. Rumble! In the blink of an eye, countless figures exploded in the Heavenly Starry River. Under the power of the Heavenly Star River, the bodies of some of the weaker upper echelons were mercilessly crushed. Their essence blood passed through the Heavenly Star River and fell into Chu Fengmian's palm, becoming a part of Chu Fengmian's power. Dozens of upper echelons had already fallen in the Heavenly Star River. Countless screams rang out continuously. How dare you steal the Heavenly Star River? Bastard! Bastard! Chu Fengmian, how dare you do this to us? We are the upper echelons of the Holy Dragon's secret domain. You are treacherous. Treacherous. The Holy Dragon sect is indeed a devil. They are all devils. I hate it. Why didn't they destroy the Holy Dragon sect earlier? Chu Fengmian, let me go. Let me go. I will never go against you again. Chu Fengmian, let me go at once. My master is a half-step sky-human realm expert. If you dare to kill me, my master will definitely kill you. Among the countless voices, there were angry roars, threats, and begging for mercy. They rose and fell one after another. The upper echelons of the Holy Dragon's secret domain who were struggling in the Heavenly Star River used all their means to escape. However, under the control of the Heavenly Star River, none of them could escape. Chu Fengmian listened to the countless shouts and his face was extremely cold. Regardless of whether they were threatening or begging for mercy, Chu Fengmian did not plan to let any of them go today. The upper echelons of the Holy Dragon's secret domain were already rotten. From the day they dared to go against Chu Fengmian, their deaths were already destined. If he did not kill them, when Chu Fengmian entered the Holy Dragon's secret domain, they would be the biggest obstacle. Chu Fengmian had to get rid of such malignant tumors in one go. Chu Fengmian looked into the Heavenly Star River. The person who had threatened Chu Fengmian was Emperor Gu of the Sword Comprehension Hall, Luo Jian. He was the one who had been threatening Chu Fengmian. Chapter 1759. Chu Fengmian said disdainfully when he heard Emperor Gu's words. Half-step celestial being realm? Chu Fengmian was no longer afraid of a half-step celestial being realm expert. Chu Fengmian was confident that he could kill a half-step celestial being realm expert like the 5 Elements Saber Saint. Chu Fengmian could even escape unscathed from a half-step celestial being realm expert like the young emperor. Emperor Gu's threat was so weak in Chu Fengmian's eyes. Moreover, Chu Fengmian already knew that there were half-step celestial being realm experts in the Sacred Dragon's secret dimension. He dared to come to the Sacred Dragon's secret dimension with great fanfare, but he did not want the half-step celestial being realm experts to show up. If they did not show up, Chu Fengmian would force them out. I'll kill you first and see if your master will show up. Chu Fengmian shouted coldly. With a wave of his hand, Emperor Gu was pulled out from the Heavenly Star River by Chu Fengmian. Boy, you're really afraid. Emperor Gu thought that Chu Fengmian was afraid of him and was just trying to talk back. His eyes were filled with disdain. However, before he could be arrogant, Chu Fengmian suddenly flicked his sleeve. A strong force immediately pressed down on Emperor Gu's body. Ancient Emperor Luo Jian's bones were crushed by this force. He knelt down in front of Chu Fengmian. Die! Chu Fengmian clenched his fist. Under this tremendous force, ancient Emperor Luo Jian's body was suddenly crushed. There was only a cloud of blood mist left on the ground where he knelt. At that time, the blood mist did not have time to escape. Above Chu Fengmian's head, the sky-devouring secret skill turned into a huge vortex and devoured Emperor Gu's blood essence. All the blood essence that was devoured became nutrients for the divine tree, increasing its power. After devouring the sword cauldron and countless other treasures, the power of the divine tree was transforming. It needed a large amount of blood essence to increase the power of the divine tree. Emperor Guluo Jian was also a 9 tribulations Emperor Gu. His blood essence had been devoured by the divine tree, increasing the power of the divine tree. However, this effect was less than 1/10,000th of the sword cauldron. The blood essence of the 9 tribulations Emperor Gu did not significantly enhance the divine tree. The blood essence of a half-step celestial realm powerhouse was the best tonic for the divine tree. It would be best if Chu Fengmian could kill a few more half-step celestial realm powerhouses and fuse with their blood essence. Then, the power of the divine tree would completely transform. The power of the divine tree had reached a bottleneck, which was equivalent to the realm of the 9 tribulations Emperor Gu. As long as it took another step forward, it would be able to transform into a half-step celestial realm powerhouse. At that time, the power of the divine tree would be completely different from what it was now. On the other side, when Chu Fengmian was observing the divine tree, the higher-ups of the sacred dragon secret dimension who were trapped in the heavenly star river were shocked. Emperor Guluo Jian was killed by Chu Fengmian just like that? Emperor Guluo Jian's threat was not false. His master, the Starry Sword Grandmaster, was a true half-step celestial realm powerhouse. Now that Chu Fengmian had killed Emperor Guluo Jian, it was a challenge to the dignity of the Starry Sword Grandmaster, a half-step celestial realm powerhouse. Who is it? How dare you kill my disciple? Rumble. All of a sudden, the skies were ripped apart as an old man walked out from the void. This was the same old man who had just used some unparalleled method to tear apart the void and traverse thousands of miles to get here. His face was filled with rage. Starry Sword Grandmaster. Emperor Guluo Jian's master was also one of the 8 halls, the oldest ancestor of the Sword Comprehension Hall. This old antique who had been in seclusion had sensed the death of Emperor Guluo Jian and came out of seclusion. He's even stronger than the 5 elements Saber Saint. He's on par with Huang Lujin. Chu Fengmian looked at the Starry Sword Grandmaster and saw through his strength. The legendary ancestor of the sacred dragon secret dimension was nothing special in Chu Fengmian's eyes. At most, he was on the same level as Huang Lujin. Chu Fengmian did not care. Starry Sword Grandmaster, save us. It's this evil creature who killed Emperor Guluo Jian. Ancestor Xinglua, please act quickly and kill this kid. Seeing the appearance of the Starry Sword Grandmaster, the higher-ups of the sacred dragon secret dimension who were trapped in the heavenly star river shouted loudly as if they had seen their savior. They were trapped in the heavenly star river and had to endure the constant attacks of the heavenly star river. In a short period of time, more than half of their spiritual power had been consumed. If this continued, they would die in the heavenly star river sooner or later. Heavenly star river? The Starry Sword Grandmaster's eyes flickered as he took a glance. There was some surprise in his eyes. The heavenly star river had fallen into the hands of someone else? One should know that the heavenly star river had been the guardian of the sacred dragon secret dimension since ancient times. It had been inferior to countless external enemies. Now, it had been taken by someone else. It's just the 9 tribulations Emperor Gu. You're all in such a sorry state. A bunch of trash. The Starry Sword Grandmaster looked at Chu Fengmian and snorted coldly. He suddenly reached out and grabbed at the people in the heavenly star river. He could tell that the higher-ups of the sacred dragon secret dimension, who were trapped in the heavenly star river, were on the verge of exhaustion. Compared to killing Chu Fengmian, saving people was more important. You want to save people in front of me? Aren't you looking down on me too much? Chu Fengmian chuckled and similarly struck out with a palm. This palm blocked the Starry Sword Ancestor's palm strike. The 2 palms collided and the Starry Sword Grandmaster's palm was forced back. The 9 moves of the primogenitor? The Starry Sword Grandmaster's eyes flickered with surprise. He recognized the power in Chu Fengmian's palm at a glance. Chu Fengmian had already mastered the first 2 moves of the 9 moves of the primogenitor. His palm and finger contained the complete power of the 9 moves of the primogenitor. He did not stick to his actions. A casual strike was enough to unleash the power of the 9 moves of the primogenitor. No wonder Luo Jian died in your hands. You do have some skills. But little guy, you dare to make an enemy out of the sacred dragon's secret dimension with such a fortuitous encounter? You're overestimating yourself. The Starry Sword Grandmaster stared at Chu Fengmian and said coldly. Since you were once a disciple of the sacred dragon's secret dimension, I won't kill you if you kneel down now. The Starry Sword Grandmaster's tone was as if he was giving alms to Chu Fengmian. With his half-step heaven realm cultivation, he could look down on all Emperor Realm Masters. No Emperor Realm Master could compete with a half-step Heaven Realm Master. When Chu Fengmian heard the Starry Sword Grandmaster's words, a strange smile suddenly appeared at the corner of his mouth. Chapter 1760. Is this brat crazy? Arrogant. He's too arrogant. Kill. This brat has turned into a demon. He's a demon. He must be killed. The higher-ups of the sacred dragon's secret realm who were trapped in the heavenly star river roared crazily. They could not wait to kill Chu Fengmian. They wanted to see the Starry Sword Ancestor kill him. Evil creature. You're really an evil creature. You don't know how to appreciate kindness. Then, you'll be buried with Luo Jian. The Starry Sword Ancestor shouted coldly. His voice was filled with endless anger and killing intent erupted from his body. A dazzling sword light suddenly appeared in the Starry Sword Ancestor's hand. He held a spiritual sword in his hand. This spiritual sword gave off a jade-like feeling. There were specks of stars on it, just like a river of stars. The spiritual sword in the Starry Sword Ancestor's hand was almost as good as the Ancestral Dragon Supreme Sword. However, it was close to the Ancestral Dragon Supreme Sword before its transformation. After countless fortuitous encounters, Chu Fengmian's 2 spiritual swords had transformed into extreme immortal weapons. They were far more powerful than heaven-grade spiritual weapons. However, if such a spiritual sword was integrated into the divine tree, it would be able to increase the divine tree's power. Die! The Starry Sword Ancestor unsheathed his spiritual sword. A dazzling sword light crossed the galaxy and slashed toward Chu Fengmian. As a sword cultivator, the Starnet Sword Ancestor only revealed his true strength when he wielded a spirit sword. This sword light was 4 to 5 times more powerful than when the Starnet Sword Ancestor had attacked with his bare hands earlier. The dazzling sword light was enough to tear the galaxy apart and shake the starry sky. Vaguely, the surrounding power of the galaxy shrouded the sword in the Starry Sword Ancestor's hand. The sword technique used by the Starry Sword Ancestor was similar to the 9 profound sword technique. It could mobilize the endless power of the galaxy to increase the sharpness of the sword. The mighty sword light that contained the power of the galaxy rushed toward Chu Fengmian. It's a good sword, but this sword technique is only SOSO. Chu Fengmian looked at the sword light with a disdainful smile. The Starry Sword Ancestor's sword Dao had just entered the sword god realm. Although it was not bad, it was still too weak for a half-step celestial realm sword cultivator. As for the difference between him and Chu Fengmian, it was like the difference between heaven and earth. Break! Sword light flickered in Chu Fengmian's hand as the Ancestral Dragon Supreme Sword was immediately unsheathed. He aimed at the sword light and slashed at it. Rumble! As the 2 sword lights clashed in the sky, the Starry Sword Ancestor's sword light was mercilessly torn apart. The tyrannical power even forced the Starnet Sword Ancestor to retreat. This? Impossible? The Starnet Sword Ancestor was forced to retreat? How can this kid's sword be so powerful? The eyes of the upper echelons trapped in the Sky Star River nearly popped out of their sockets when they saw the Starry Sword Ancestor being forced back. This was a battle between a half-step celestial being and 9 Tribulations Emperor Gu. There should be no suspense, and the outcome should be decided in an instant. But the person who was forced to retreat was actually the Starnet Sword Ancestor. The swordsmanship of the Sword Comprehension Hall is just SOSO. Chu Fengmian shook his head. He originally wanted to see if there were any swordsmanship in the Sacred Dragon secret domain that was worth incorporating into the 9-region swordsmanship. But from the Starnet Sword Ancestor's point of view, there was no swordsmanship that was worth incorporating into the 9-region swordsmanship. As an ancestor, the Starnet Sword Ancestor's attainment in swordsmanship was just SOSO, let alone others. Arrogant. Hearing Chu Fengmian's disdain, the Starnet Sword Ancestor was enraged. Blood mist condensed from his body and slowly flowed into the sword. Infusing blood into the sword. The spiritual sword in the Starnet Sword Ancestor's hand turned red after being infused with blood. This blood color seemed to be the true form of the spiritual sword in the Starnet Sword Ancestor's hand. So it's a demonic sword. Infusing blood into the sword? Cultivating such a crooked method? Seeing the transformation of the spiritual sword in the Starnet Sword Ancestor's hand, Chu Fengmian thought of an ancient swordsmanship. Infusing blood into the sword. It was said that in ancient times, there was a sword sect called the Blood Sacrifice Sword Sect that created a sword technique that infused blood into the sword. Infusing one's own blood essence into the spiritual sword was enough to activate the spiritual sword, erupting with power that was several times stronger. Although this sword technique was powerful, it had a fatal flaw. After infusing blood into the sword, a large amount of blood essence would be consumed every time the sword technique was activated. The more powerful one was, the greater the price one had to pay to condense blood essence. This method of infusing blood into the sword was a crooked method that had long been lost in the 9 regions. But now, he actually saw it in the Starnet Sword Ancestor's hand. Little bastard, you forced me to do this. I'll take back all the blood essence that I've consumed from you. The Starnet Sword Ancestor looked at Chu Fengmian with red eyes that contained endless killing intent. Kill! The Starnet Sword Ancestor attacked again. A strong smell of blood swept over. Infusing blood into the sword, the power of the Starnet Sword Ancestor's sword was several times stronger than before. In an instant, tens of thousands of sword rays slashed toward Chu Fengmian at the same time. Crooked methods are not the right way after all. They're not worth mentioning in front of the true sword Dao. Chu Fengmian's eyes flashed with disdain. Even though there were tens of thousands of sword lights slashing at Chu Fengmian at the same time, Chu Fengmian's figure remained motionless in the face of danger. When the tens of thousands of sword lights were about to slash Chu Fengmian's body, when the sword rays were about to hit him, Chu Fengmian's sword suddenly moved. The power of the galaxy condensed at the tip of Chu Fengmian's sword, and the sword light that was unleashed immediately turned into a vast galaxy. The third form of the 9 profound immortal art, Greedy Wolf. Boom! All of the Starnet Sword Ancestor's sword chi were swept into the starry river and annihilated mercilessly. Die! Under countless incredulous gazes, the Starnet Sword Ancestor's body was swept into the starry river. Countless streams of sword chi bombarded the starry sword Ancestor's body, crushing it mercilessly. How can he be so strong? The Starnet Sword Ancestor's body was crushed, but he still couldn't believe everything that had happened before his eyes. He was a half-step celestial realm expert. Shouldn't dealing with a mere 9 tribulations Emperor Gu be a piece of cake? How did he end up like this? Die. Chu Fengmian didn't want to waste any more words with the Starnet Sword Ancestor. With a thought, the sword chi in the starry river became even more violent and mercilessly shredded the Starnet Sword Ancestor's body. His blood essence was also integrated into the divine tree by Chu Fengmian. The Starnet Sword Ancestor's spiritual sword was also integrated into the divine tree and devoured by it. Chapter 1761. The increase in the divine tree's power was also transmitted to Chu Fengmian. Chu Fengmian and the divine tree's power came from the same source. The stronger the divine tree's power was, the stronger Chu Fengmian's power would be. After devouring the starry sword Grandmaster's blood essence spiritual sword, Chu Fengmian's aura grew even stronger. Chu Fengmian's aura had increased significantly. His cultivation realm was close to the peak of the Nine Tribulation Ancient Emperor realm. As long as Chu Fengmian killed another half-step to the Celestial Realm Expert and devoured his blood essence, Chu Fengmian's strength would truly reach the pinnacle of the Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu. This kind of speed of increase in strength was simply shocking. A half-step to the Celestial Realm Expert was killed by Chu Fengmian just like that. The upper echelons of the Holy Dragon's secret dimension who were trapped in the Heavenly Star River were all scared to death. Especially after seeing Chu Fengmian devouring the Starry Sword Grandmaster's blood essence spiritual sword and looking at them, all of them trembled in fear. Chu Fengmian, don't kill me. I'm willing to submit to you and work for you. I'll support you as the master of the Holy Dragon's secret dimension. One of the upper echelons of the Holy Dragon's secret dimension knelt down before Chu Fengmian and begged for mercy the moment Chu Fengmian's gaze swept across him. These upper echelons of the Holy Dragon's secret dimension had always been superior and respected in the Holy Dragon's secret dimension. However, after seeing Chu Fengmian kill the Starry Sword Grandmaster, they no longer dared to go against Chu Fengmian and began to beg for mercy. Chu Fengmian killed the half-step to the Celestial Realm Expert Starry Sword Grandmaster so casually. They, the Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu, were no different from ants in front of Chu Fengmian. Moreover, the Heavenly Star River had fallen into Chu Fengmian's hands. They had lost all ability to resist. Julian, you want to live too? You've hunted me down several times. If I didn't have the opportunity, I would have died in your hands long ago. Qing Meng's eyes were filled with boundless killing intent when she heard the begging upper echelons of the Holy Dragon's secret dimension. She hurriedly said to Chu Fengmian, "This person is extremely sinister. We can't let him go." "Oh? Since you've tried to kill senior sister, I naturally can't let you go. Only death awaits you. Anyone who dares to go against the Holy Dragon sect must die today." When Chu Fengmian heard Qing Meng's words, he snorted coldly. As a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect, Chu Fengmian naturally had to avenge the Holy Dragon sect. Chu Fengmian looked at Qing Meng and said, "Senior sister, I'll leave it to you to see who has bullied the Holy Dragon sect. You can kill them. After all, the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm won't need such trash in the future. All right?" Hearing Chu Fengmian's words, Qing Meng was overjoyed. She didn't speculate and immediately stepped into the Heavenly Star River. Now that the Heavenly Star River was under Chu Fengmian's control, it naturally wouldn't harm Qing Meng. Qing Meng swept her gaze across the room and saw a few fearful higher-ups. "All of you, die!" Whoosh! A green glow condensed in Qing Meng's palm and slashed out. The few upper echelons were killed mercilessly. You, and you. Wherever Qing Meng's gaze swept across, a green glow condensed and killed more than 10 upper echelons in a row. These upper echelons were mostly disciples of the Sane Academy sect and the Six Ultimate sect. These two sects were the #1 enemies of the Holy Dragon sect. Of course, Qing Meng wouldn't let them go. Damn it. This kid won't let us go. Let's fight it out with him. A few upper echelons of the Sane Academy sect gathered together. The moment Qing Meng walked over, they suddenly gathered their strength and attacked together. These upper echelons were Emperor Gu of the Nine Tribulations. Their combined strength was no small matter. How dare you be so presumptuous in front of me? However, just as they attacked, an even more powerful force descended from the Heavenly Star River and mercilessly crushed their combined strength. With a green glow in her hand, she slashed out and killed the few upper echelons of the Sane Academy sect. The smell of blood filled the air. Such ruthless means made the other upper echelons of the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm not dare to resist. They could only beg bitterly. However, Qing Meng did not show any mercy. As long as they had bullied or dealt with the upper echelons of the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm, they were all killed. A few minutes later, when Qing Meng stopped, there were only 3 upper echelons left in the Heavenly Star River. These 3 upper echelons were all disciples of the Five Spirits sect. Only they had not dealt with the Holy Dragon sect. Very good. The three of you, as long as you work for me in the future, you can continue to be in charge of the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm. However, you must remember that the Holy Dragon sect must be in charge in the future. Chu Fengmian waved his hand and released the shroud of the Heavenly Star River. He kept the Heavenly Star River and looked at the remaining three. Yes. Yes. The three of them had long been frightened by Chu Fengmian's ruthless methods. They hurriedly replied, and then respectfully followed behind Chu Fengmian like obedient subjects. The three of them were very clear in their hearts. They could only survive because they had not dealt with the Holy Dragon sect. The three of them knew that the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm was going to change from today onwards. Even the entire Daluo star field was going to change. Senior sister, let's go and eradicate the Six Ultimates sect. From today onwards, the Six Ultimates sect will no longer exist. Chu Fengmian looked at Qing Meng and said, the other experts of the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm should be hiding in the sacred ground. However, Chu Fengmian was not in a hurry to go to the sacred ground. After Chu Fengmian destroyed the Six Ultimates sect and the Holy Academy sect, the old antiques hiding in the sacred ground would come out on their own. Chu Fengmian and Qing Meng's figures flickered and flew into the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm. Currently, most of the disciples in the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm were still unaware of what had happened outside. They only felt the disappearance of the Heavenly Star River and could not help but discuss it. As one of the four sects, the disciples of the Six Ultimates sect were also discussing it. What's going on? Why did the Heavenly Star River disappear? Could it be that an external enemy has invaded? Impossible. I'm afraid that the upper echelons of the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm have taken action. Only they can control the Heavenly Star River. It seems that the upper echelons of the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm are finally going to take action against the Holy Dragon sect. There's no need to use the Heavenly Star River. Take action against the Holy Dragon sect? That's great. After destroying the Holy Dragon sect, our Six Ultimates sect will be able to obtain a lot of benefits. It is said that the Holy Dragon sect is full of treasures. I have long wanted to obtain the various inheritances within. The disciples of the Six Ultimates sect sneered as they discussed. At this moment, a loud noise suddenly sounded from the sky. It caused countless disciples of the Six Ultimates sect to raise their heads and look at the sky. Chapter 1762. The entire Six Ultimates sect's mountain protecting grand array was now suddenly torn open by a large hand. This Six Ultimates sect's mountain protecting great array was forcibly torn apart just like that. The mountain peak where the entire Six Ultimates sect was located was shaking. What happened? Someone is attacking Six Ultimates sect? Who dares to attack the Six Ceaseless Peaks? The disciples of the Six Ultimates sect flew out from the palace and searched everywhere. Soon after, they saw a few figures flying above the sky of the Six Ultimates sect. These figures were Chu Fengmian, Qing Meng, and the three higher-ups of the Five Spirits sect who followed behind them. Chu Fengmian's gaze swept down. Now, the experts in the Six Ultimates sect had all been caught by Chu Fengmian in the Heavenly Star River. The ones left now were, at most, some elders in the realm of 8 Tribulations Emperor Gu. There was not a single 9 Tribulations Emperor Gu. They were not worth mentioning. From today onwards, Six Ultimates sect is officially removed from the Sacred Dragon Secret Realm. Everyone, scram. Chu Fengmian looked down and said coldly. Chu Fengmian couldn't be bothered to kill these true emperors. As long as they were willing to leave, he would spare them. However, if they didn't know what was good for them, only death would await them. Chu Fengmian's voice was not loud, but it reached the ears of every Six Ultimates sect's disciple. For a moment, all the discussions disappeared, and countless gazes looked at Chu Fengmian. Remove the name of Six Ultimates sect? What big words! Even the upper echelons don't dare to make such a move. Brat, you dare to remove the Six Ultimates sect? What a joke! my six ultimate sect has been passed down in the sacred dragon mystery plane for tens of thousands of years. How dare a few little fellows say that they want to remove the name of six ultimate sect? Countless six ultimate sect disciples were laughing and shouting loudly. Remove the name of six ultimate sect? The six ultimate sect was one of the four sections. Its strength was far beyond the 8 halls. Even the Holy Academy sect did not dare to say that they could remove the six ultimate sect. They could only cooperate with the six ultimate sect. Chu Fengmian only had a few people in front of him, yet he dared to attack six ultimate sect? It was like a joke. Chu Fengmian, Qing Meng, you actually dare to attack six ultimate sect? How dare you? You've disregarded the rules of the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension and attacked your fellow disciples without permission. That's a capital offense. From the six ultimate sect, an 8 tribulations Emperor Gu appeared. He was also an elder of the six ultimate sect. He recognized the identities of Chu Fengmian and Qing Meng and shouted coldly. There's also the matter of you tearing apart the Great Mountain Protection Array of the six ultimate sect. You must give us an explanation. That's right, you have to compensate him. Another six ultimate sect elder stepped out and stared at Chu Fengmian and Qing Meng as he spoke without fear. If you don't give me an explanation, I won't let this matter rest. Rules? Chu Fengmian said with a cold smile. From today onwards, the Holy Dragon sect is the rule. Those who do not submit must die. Now, I will give all of you a chance. Now, there are only 2 paths. Either get out of six ultimate sect, or kneel down and serve me. Other than that, all of you must die. Chu Fengmian was too lazy to kill these six ultimate sect disciples. As long as they left six ultimate sect, Chu Fengmian would not kill them. It could be considered as giving them a chance. However, there was only one chance. If Chu Fengmian could not grasp it, he could not be blamed. Ha ha ha, is this Chu Fengmian crazy? In my opinion, there's no need to pay attention to this kid. Ridiculous, ridiculous. I'll stand here and see if he dares to kill me. A group of six ultimate sect disciples heard Chu Fengmian's incomparably arrogant words and thought that Chu Fengmian had gone crazy. They did not put Chu Fengmian's words in their eyes at all. However, the 3-5 spirit sect higher-ups standing behind Chu Fengmian sighed. They knew that this was the only chance Chu Fengmian was giving them. Chu Fengmian even dared to kill the higher-ups of the Holy Dragon Secret Realm, let alone these few six ultimate sect disciples. Arrogant. Chu Fengmian, are you crazy? Do you think that in this Holy Dragon Secret Realm, you can cover the sky with one hand? Even Yunzun does not dare to treat our six ultimate sect like this. The six ultimate sect elder's face showed anger as he roared madly. However, before his roar ended, Chu Fengmian suddenly waved his hand and his voice stopped abruptly. A dragon's claw fell mercilessly. Before the six ultimate sect elder could react, his body was mercilessly torn apart by this dragon's claw and exploded in the air. The blood mist that filled the sky was swallowed by the sky-devouring secret technique and poured into the divine tree. Even a mosquito's leg was meat. The divine tree was accumulating power. Even the blood essence of the 8 tribulations Emperor Gu could replenish the divine tree's spiritual power. In the blink of an eye, an 8 tribulations Emperor Gu, an elder of six ultimate sect, died in the hands of Chu Fengmian without the slightest ability to resist. Dead? This, Elder Huizong died just like this? Countless six ultimate sect disciples looked at this scene, dumbfounded. Many people had not recovered from the shock. Such an elder, who was once a high and mighty figure in six ultimate sect, died just like this. Died in the hands of Chu Fengmian? He had no power to fight back. If you don't surrender, you will die. I will give you 3 breaths of time. Choose. Chu Fengmian looked coldly at the countless six ultimate sect disciples and elders below and said coldly. Chu Fengmian, I can surrender to you, but you have to promise me. An elder of six ultimate sect hesitated for a moment. Suddenly, he wanted to raise some conditions to Chu Fengmian, but he had yet to say his conditions. Above the sky, another dragon's claw condensed and suddenly bombarded down. This elder of six ultimates sect was mercilessly torn apart in front of the war dragon's claw, just like the previous six ultimates sect elder. You don't have the chance to talk about conditions. If you don't surrender, you will die. Chu Fengmian's eyes were extremely cold as he said. Everyone was terrified by Chu Fengmian's methods. They suddenly understood that Chu Fengmian was serious this time. Those who are willing to surrender, leave six ultimates peak now and kneel over there. Chu Fengmian looked at the fearful six ultimates sect disciples below and said coldly. Whoosh! After Chu Fengmian killed two elders of six ultimates sect in a row with his tyrannical means, he had already intimidated many people. Hearing Chu Fengmian's words, many six ultimates sect disciples flew out of six ultimates peak as if they had been granted amnesty. Figures flew to a square outside six ultimates sect. After hesitating for a moment, they all knelt on the ground in front of Chu Fengmian. They did not dare to resist Chu Fengmian's iron-blooded means. Chapter 1763. However, the elders of the six ultimates sect were still hesitating. With their dignity, they were unwilling to kneel in front of Chu Fengmian like this. For them, it was simply an endless humiliation. They were at least figures in the realm of 8 tribulations Emperor Gu. In the Daluo star field, they were enough to sit on a continent. Making them kneel now was more painful than killing them. Chu Fengmian, we are willing to submit to you, but don't go too far. An elder of the six ultimates sect walked out and said to Chu Fengmian. We can let you be the sect master of the six ultimates sect, but you must give us preferential treatment. Preferential treatment? I said that other than submitting, you can only die. Go over there and kneel and beg. Chu Fengmian heard the words of the elder of the six ultimates sect and said expressionlessly. Chu Fengmian, don't go too far. Looking at how stubborn they were, the other elders of the six ultimates sect also spoke out in unison. Without our help, don't even think about controlling the six ultimates sect. They were not willing to kneel there like a group of disciples. In their view, Chu Fengmian's continuous killing just now was just a show of strength. They were all people who managed the six ultimates sect. After killing them, Chu Fengmian would not be able to control the six ultimates sect alone. They thought they could use this to threaten Chu Fengmian. However, a cold smile appeared at the corner of Chu Fengmian's mouth. Control the six ultimates sect? I have never thought of controlling the six ultimates sect. From today onwards, the sacred dragon secret realm does not need the six ultimates sect. Since you are not willing to submit, then die. Rumble. Above Chu Fengmian's head, the battle dragon claw condensed again and swept down. The few elders of the six ultimates sect who had just spoken were all swept by the battle dragon claw. Without any resistance, their bodies were shattered. A total of 3 elders of the six ultimates sect were mercilessly killed by the battle dragon claw at the same time. Without exception, their blood mist was swallowed by the divine tree and turned into nourishment for the divine tree. This method made the disciples of the six ultimates sect tremble with fear. These were the elders of the six ultimates sect, the elders of the 4 sections. Their status was incomparably noble. But now, they were like pigs and dogs that could be casually slaughtered in front of Chu Fengmian. Many six ultimates sect disciples trembled in their hearts and no longer dared to resist Chu Fengmian. After killing 3 more elders of the six ultimates sect in one breath, many disciples of the six ultimates sect in the six ultimates peak no longer hesitated. They flew out one after another and knelt on the square. Most of the six ultimates sect disciples had already chosen to kneel and submit. As for the remaining people, Chu Fengmian was disinclined to look at them. What is he trying to do? Many people looked at Chu Fengmian. Suddenly, Chu Fengmian moved. He took a step towards the direction of the 6 peaks. It seemed like he was going to enter the 6 peaks. In the next moment, Chu Fengmian's right hand suddenly moved, and he grabbed the 6 peaks with his palm. Rumble. The earth shook and the mountains shook. The countless palaces on the 6 ceaseless peaks started to shake, and many of them started to collapse. Chu Fengmian's hand grabbed the spirit spring under the 6 ceaseless peaks. In this 6 ceaseless peaks, the spirit energy was rich. Obviously, there was a spirit spring under the ground. There was a spirit spring under the 4 sects and 8 halls. This was also the foundation of the 4 sects and 8 halls. Only with a spirit spring could there be endless spirit energy to cultivate disciples. There was also a spirit spring in the Sword Origin world, but that spirit spring was too small to support the cultivation of the Sword Dao sect disciples. It was fine for a short time, but with the expansion of the Sword Dao sect, more spirit springs were needed to support the cultivation of the Sword Dao sect disciples. There was no need for the 6 ultimate sect to exist from today onwards. Chu Fengmian would not let go of this spirit spring. After collecting this spirit spring, Chu Fengmian could also integrate into the Sword Origin world. This spiritual spring was hidden under the 6 ceaseless peaks, and it was protected by layers of forbidding spells. The moment Chu Fengmian's hand grabbed it, he felt that this spirit spring was as heavy as a continent. It was difficult to shake it. This was the effect of activating the restriction on the spiritual spring. However, Chu Fengmian could even collect the Heavenly Star River, let alone this small spirit spring. Sky Devouring Secret Technique, devour for me. Chu Fengmian urged the power of the Sky Devouring Secret Technique to the extreme and immediately struck the ground under the 6 ceaseless peaks. The devouring power of the Sky Devouring Secret Technique frantically devoured the restriction above the spirit spring. Countless restrictions were shattered in front of the Sky Devouring Secret Technique. At this time, Chu Fengmian also exerted force with his palm, and the spirit spring under the 6 ceaseless peaks was uprooted by Chu Fengmian. This spirit spring was thousands of feet long. In terms of spirit energy, it was much better than the one in the Sword Origin world. The spirit energy contained in this spirit spring was dozens of times more than that in the Sword Origin world. Such a spirit spring was enough to support the expansion of the Sword Dao sect for at least 1,000 years. Boom! The spirit spring was absorbed. The entire 6 ceaseless peaks collapsed. Countless warriors who were still hiding in the 6 ceaseless peaks fell to their deaths. Under the urging of the Sky Devouring Secret Technique, their spirit energy was drained, and they were no different from ordinary people. With the collapse of the 6 ceaseless peaks, these stubborn disciples of the 6 ceaseless sect were all killed. The entire 6 ceaseless peaks was built on this spirit spring. The spirit spring was taken away by Chu Fengmian, and it was like taking away firewood from the bottom of a cauldron. All the disciples of the 6 ceaseless sect knew that from then on, there would be no more 6 ceaseless sect. Chu Fengmian suddenly saw a palace in the collapsed 6 ceaseless peaks. This palace was actually able to withstand the power of the Sky Devouring Secret Technique. It was at least a heaven-grade spirit tool. Chu Fengmian suddenly reached out and grabbed it. At a glance, he saw that in this palace, there were countless elixirs and treasures. This is the treasure house of the 6 ceaseless sect. The 6 ceaseless sect had been passed down for tens of thousands of years. The treasures contained in the treasure house would not be few, although the real treasures must have been divided by the old antiques of the 6 ceaseless sect. However, many of the treasures were of great use to Emperor Gu. It was enough to cultivate the Sword Dao sect. Chu Fengmian was not polite. He directly put the palace into the empty ring. At the same time, the spirit spring was crazily compressed in Chu Fengmian's palm. It finally became 1,000 meters in size and was also put into the empty ring by Chu Fengmian. Let's go to the next one. After destroying the 6 ceaseless sect, Chu Fengmian did not look back. His figure flashed and disappeared from the 6 ceaseless sect. At the same time, it had caused a great shock in the Sacred Dragon secret realm. The 6 ceaseless peaks had collapsed. Chapter 1764. All of this had caused an uproar in the Sacred Dragon secret realm. 6 Ultimate Sect, one of the 4 sects, was destroyed just like that. Even when Chu Fengmian destroyed the Law Enforcement Hall, it was not so shocking. The strength of the 4 sects far surpassed the 8 halls. Although 6 Ultimate Sect was at the bottom of the 4 sects, its overall strength was more tyrannical than the 8 halls combined. Now, even 6 Ultimate's peak was silently destroyed. The Sacred Dragon's secret realm is going to change. Many disciples of the Sacred Dragon's secret realm muttered to themselves. On the other side, after Chu Fengmian left 6 Ultimate's sect, he headed straight for the Sacred Academy sect. 6 Ultimate's sect and Sacred Academy sect were the 2 great enemies of the Sacred Dragon sect. After destroying the 6 Ultimate's sect, the next turn was the Holy Academy sect. Chu Fengmian's figure flickered and arrived in front of the Sacred Academy peak in an instant. Now, the mountain protection array on the Sacred Academy peak had been fully activated, turning into a barrier that enveloped the entire Sacred Academy peak. After Chu Fengmian destroyed 6 Ultimate's sect, countless people understood that Chu Fengmian's action this time was not just for 6 Ultimate's sect. Chu Fengmian stood in the sky above the Sacred Academy peak, looking down at the disciples of the Sacred Academy sect who were waiting for him with a cold smile. Like 6 Ultimate's sect, there is no need for the Sacred Academy sect to continue existing today. All disciples of the Sacred Academy sect, if you don't want to die, go out and kneel. If you don't surrender, you will die. Chu Fengmian's cold voice was transmitted to the ears of all the disciples of the Sacred Academy sect below. This was not the first time Chu Fengmian had said this. Previously, when Chu Fengmian spoke, there were still people who doubted his words. But now, after seeing that Chu Fengmian had completely destroyed 6 Ultimate's sect, and even the spiritual spring in 6 Ultimate's peak was forcibly extracted by Chu Fengmian, no one doubted Chu Fengmian's words anymore. Although the foundation of the Sacred Academy sect was far superior to 6 Ultimate's peak, the Sacred Academy sect was already the top sect in the Sacred Dragon's secret realm. Otherwise, the Sacred Academy sect would not dare to compete with the Sacred Dragon sect. However, Chu Fengmian had already destroyed the 6 Ultimate's sect, so it was not necessarily impossible for him to destroy the Sacred Academy sect. Hearing Chu Fengmian's words, countless disciples of the Sacred Academy sect lost their confidence. Some of them even wanted to retreat. Chu Fengmian, you don't have to be arrogant. I have already passed on the matter of you daring to attack 6 Ultimate's sect to the Holy Land. When the powerhouses of the Holy Land arrive, it will be the day of your destruction. You don't have many hours left to live, and you still dare to be arrogant? Just as everyone was hesitating, a voice suddenly sounded. From the depths of Saint Academy Peak, a figure slowly walked out. It was an old man. The old man was wearing a dragon robe and a crown on his head. As he took a step forward, a strong force of the heavens and earth descended upon the area. Countless disciples of the Sacred Academy sect felt as though the uneasiness in their hearts had dissipated the moment they heard the words of the old man. Omnipotent? The old ancestor of the Wu clan and the Grand Supreme Elder of the Sacred Academy sect. Some of the onlooking disciples of the Sacred Dragon's secret realm had already recognized the old man's identity. He was the Grand Supreme Elder of the Sacred Academy sect and the old ancestor of the Wu clan, Omnipotent. Wu Dao was a disciple of the Wu clan. The Wu clan was considered one of the top clans in the entire Sacred Dragon secret realm. Following the appearance of Omnipotent, a few more figures appeared behind him. They were all middle-aged men. The aura of these middle-aged men was also extremely tyrannical. Without exception, they were all Emperor Gu of the 9 tribulations. Omnipotent's strength had reached a level that was extremely close to the half-step celestial realm. Compared to Wu Dao, he was not inferior at all. The arrival of several Emperor Gu of the 9 tribulations calmed the hearts of the disciples of the Sacred Academy sect. I didn't expect there to be a few fishes that escaped the net. Chu Fengmian's gaze swept across the people of the Wu clan. His eyes revealed some surprise. Originally, Chu Fengmian thought that the 9 tribulations Emperor Gu of the Sacred Dragon's secret realm had all been killed by him. Now, it seemed that there were a few fishes that escaped the net. However, the few Emperor Gu of the 9 tribulations were nothing in front of Chu Fengmian. Chu Fengmian wanted to destroy the Sacred Academy sect. It was simply a dream for these few Emperor Gu of the 9 tribulations to stop Chu Fengmian. Kid, I advise you to quickly think about how to deal with the experts from the sacred grounds. With your sins, even if you die, It will be too easy for you. Omnipotent looked at Chu Fengmian and revealed a somewhat sinister smile. Experts from the sacred grounds? Chu Fengmian laughed when he heard Omnipotent's words. What? You think the experts from the sacred grounds can save the Sacred Academy sect? Whoever comes today, the Sacred Academy sect will be destroyed. You people of the Wu clan, kneel on the ground and commit suicide now. I can leave your corpses intact. Otherwise, when the Sacred Academy sect is destroyed, your corpses won't even be intact. Chu Fengmian's words shocked the countless disciples of the Sacred Dragon Secret Realm who were watching. Most of the true experts of the Sacred Dragon Secret Realm were in the sacred grounds. Only a few were stationed in the Sacred Dragon Secret Realm. They had already seen Chu Fengmian's arrogance, but hearing his words still frightened many people. Chu Fengmian didn't care about the experts from the sacred grounds. In the sacred grounds, there were even half-step celestial being experts. Now, Chu Fengmian didn't care? Such arrogance came from Chu Fengmian's mouth, but no one thought that Chu Fengmian was bluffing. Chu Fengmian had already fulfilled his words one by one. Arrogant brat! Omnipotent's face was incomparably furious. He waved his hand and said, "Activate the power of the Great Protective Mountain Array." Rumble! The power of the Great Protective Mountain Array on the Sacred Academy peak had been activated to the limit. Ancient lines flowed on the Sacred Academy peak. Numerous runes formed a series of restrictive formations. A sect's Great Protective Mountain Array was the easiest place to see the foundation of a sect. Just by looking at it, the Sacred Academy sect's Great Protective Mountain Array was countless times more powerful than the Six Ultimate sect's Great Protective Mountain Array. Although the two were one of the four sects, there was a huge gap between them. The Great Protective Mountain Array was fully activated. The various powers contained in it made the Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu not dare to attack. Even the Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu couldn't bear the power of the backlash. The Great Protective Mountain Array's power was fully activated. Omnipotent sneered as he looked at Chu Fengmian. He also knew Chu Fengmian's strength. He was definitely not an ordinary Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu, so he didn't plan to fight Chu Fengmian head-on. Instead, he chose to delay. As long as he delayed until the experts from the sacred grounds arrived, it would be Chu Fengmian's doomsday. Brat, let's see how you can destroy the Sacred Academy sect. A homeless Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu looked at Chu Fengmian disdainfully and said provocatively. Chapter 1765. The protective mountain array of the Sacred Academy sect was strong enough to withstand the joint attack of several Emperor Gu of the Nine Tribulations. Under the protection of the protective mountain array, the Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu of the Nine Tribulations sect had nothing to fear. Kid, if you have the ability, just kill me now. Do you think our Sacred Academy sect has no foundation? When the experts from the Holy Lands arrive, it will be the time of your death. Do you think you can destroy our Sacred Academy sect with some small opportunities? You're daydreaming. The Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu sneered again. You want to stop me with this puny protective mountain array? Ridiculous. Break it for me. Chu Fengmian was too lazy to answer the Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu. With a cold shout, the ancestral Dragon Supreme sword in Chu Fengmian's hand was suddenly unsheathed. The dazzling sword blade shrouded the entire Sacred Academy peak. Chu Fengmian made his move. Countless disciples of the Sacred Dragon Secret Domain looked over, paying attention to the changes that happened every moment. The moment the sword blade slashed the Sacred Academy peak, ancient runes emerged from the depths of the Sacred Academy sect. These runes condensed and turned into thousands of layers of formations, blocking the front of the sword blade. These thousands of layers of formations were all set up by the powerful cultivators of the Sacred Academy sect in the past. Countless experts had been born in the Sacred Academy sect, and all of them had added their strength to the protective array of the Sacred Academy sect. Now, the protective mountain array was almost equivalent to having experienced the support of thousands of Emperor Gu. Its defensive power could be said to be heaven-defying. Boom! The power of Chu Fengmian's sword blade slashed on the countless formations, but only burst out a violent sound and set off a wave, but these formations were not broken. The Sacred Academy sect is indeed worthy of being called the Sacred Academy sect. The depth of its foundation is indeed not inferior to the Sacred Dragon sect. Chu Fengmian is still too arrogant. He thinks he can destroy the Sacred Academy sect just because he destroyed the Six Ultimate sect. But the foundation of the Sacred Academy sect is far from what the Six Ultimate sect can match. It seems that this kid is going to be defeated today. He can't even break the Sacred Academy sect's defense. When the experts from the Holy Lands arrive, this kid will definitely die. The experts who had hidden themselves discussed among themselves. Although the 8 halls of the Sacred Dragon's secret dimension were not as powerful as the 4 great sects, they had nurtured their own powerful individuals over the past tens of thousands of years. For example, the most dazzling figure in the law enforcement hall, Emperor Gu, was a tyrannical existence who was about to step into the half-step celestial realm. Among the 8 halls, the 10,000 Dragon Hall, the Sword Comprehension Hall, and the Law Enforcement Hall, which were ranked 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, had all been severely injured by Chu Fengmian. However, the number 1 Martial Tyrant Hall had never appeared. Of course, there were also experts from the Ghost Slaying Hall, Xiangxiu Hall, and other halls. These experts from the 8 halls were quite a force to be reckoned with. Countless experts from the 8 halls had gathered near the Sacred Academy sect, ready to witness the outcome of this battle. If Chu Fengmian was invincible and swept through the Sacred Dragon Mystery Ground, they would also choose to submit to Chu Fengmian to protect themselves. However, if Chu Fengmian was no match for the Holy Dragon Mystic Realm, then what had happened today would be nothing more than a farce. Originally, countless experts were still observing the battle. However, upon seeing this scene, some of them became restless. If they helped the Sacred Academy sect now, when the Sacred Dragon sect was eliminated and the Sacred Academy sect reigned supreme in the future, those who helped the Sacred Academy sect now would be able to reap great benefits. Chu Fengmian, you have the ambition of a wolf. How dare you attack your fellow disciples? You have already committed a heinous crime. Although I'm not a disciple of the Sacred Academy sect, I can't tolerate your actions. Whoosh! All of a sudden, a figure appeared and flew towards the direction of the Sacred Academy peak. Landing on the peak, he stood together with the disciples of the Sacred Academy sect. It's the Supreme Elder of the Ghost Slaying Hall, Ning Duan. Seeing the sudden appearance of the figure, some people muttered to themselves. It seems like the 8 halls are going to help the Sacred Academy sect deal with Chu Fengmian. Of course. After all, Chu Fengmian is alone. Even with the help of the Sacred Dragon sect, there are only 2 or 3 of them. In the entire Sacred Dragon Mystery Ground, they are nothing. If they help the Sacred Academy sect now, there will be great benefits in the future. Naturally, the 8 halls will help. A disciple of the Sacred Dragon Mystery Ground spoke and suddenly pointed in a direction. Look! Whoosh! Whoosh! Following the appearance of Ning Duan, a few more figures flew over from afar. Without exception, they all landed on the Sacred Academy sect. That's the Supreme Elder of the Martial Tyrant Hall, Ba Si. And Emperor Gu of the Cultivation Hall, Bai Shan from the Cultivation Hall. More and more figures appeared. Many of the experts of the 8 halls who were previously neutral and observing the situation had joined the Sacred Academy sect. Thank you for your help. After we eliminate this brat and the Sacred Academy sect, there will be great benefits for all of you. Wu Yuan, who had no home, looked at Chu Fengmian and sneered when he saw the arrival of the crowd. Brat, do you think you can fight against the entire Sacred Dragon Mystery Ground alone? Aren't you a little too naive? Kneel down and submit now. This is your only way out. A bunch of useless people. What's the harm in joining forces? Chu Fengmian's eyes were cold as he looked at the crowd that had gathered. Since you're all here, I don't have to search for you one by one. Today, everyone on the Sacred Academy peak will die. Humph, little bastard, you don't have to boast here. Break this protective mountain array first. Emperor Gu, who had ridiculed Chu Fengmian earlier, mocked again. Do you really think that such a small mountain protecting formation can stop me? I just want to lure those trash out. Since you're all out, you can all die. Suddenly, the aura on Chu Fengmian's body was completely different from before. A soaring sword intent burst out from Chu Fengmian's back. The billowing sword intent condensed on Chu Fengmian's sword. A colorless flame burned on the ancestral dragon supreme sword. Trice on blazing sword. Break. Rumble. It was also a sword edge. However, the power of this sword edge was tens of times stronger than the previous one. The moment Chu Fengmian's voice faded, rumble. The tip of the sword slashed down on the Grand Mountain Protection Array. The 1,000-layer array was formed once again. This time, a colorless flame suddenly burned on the 1,000-layer array. The formations were mercilessly burned to ashes by the colorless flames. Whether it was the protective mountain array or the countless ancient runes on it, they could only be burned by the colorless flame. The entire protective mountain array was collapsing. Countless array cores were burned to ashes. Crack! Following a crisp sound, a crack appeared on the protective mountain array of the Sacred Academy peak. Then, it started to shatter continuously. In an instant, the protective mountain array collapsed. Chapter 1766. The scene of the protective mountain array collapsing fell into everyone's eyes. Everyone's eyes were filled with incomparable shock and disbelief. The protective mountain array of the Sacred Academy sect collapsed just like that. How is this possible? The protective mountain array of the Sacred Academy sect collapsed with a single slash? What kind of sword technique is this? This kind of power, it's definitely an immortal technique. Chu Fengmian is only in the realm of 9 tribulations Emperor Gu. How can he unleash such a terrifying sword technique? Many disciples of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain who witnessed this scene were blinking their eyes frantically, as if they were trying to confirm if this scene was real. However, no matter how they looked, the protective mountain array of the Sacred Academy sect was already shattered. Uprooted. Countless array cores in the protective mountain array were burned to ashes by the pure yang heavenly fire. This wasn't just an opening in the protective mountain array. Instead, it was an attack that completely destroyed the protective mountain array. This scene was even more shocking than the scene of Chu Fengmian uprooting the spiritual spring under the 6 Extremities peak. Countless experts on the Sacred Academy peak, especially those from the 8 halls, were now extremely pale. They originally thought that Chu Fengmian would definitely lose this battle, so they stood on the Sacred Academy sect's side to take advantage of the situation. But now, it seemed that Chu Fengmian's strength was far beyond their imagination. The pure yang heavenly fire was gradually extinguished. Before the crowd could react, a dragon claw descended mercilessly towards the Saint Academy peak. Defend against the enemy. Wu Yuan was the first to react. He shouted loudly, and at the same time, struck out towards the dragon claw. Emperor Gu of the 9 tribulations, the Sacred Academy sect's disciples, and the experts from the 8 halls came back to their senses and displayed countless martial techniques to attack the dragon claw. Mayfly shaking a tree. Chu Fengmian sneered. His mind moved. A deep vortex suddenly appeared in front of the battle dragon claw. The power of the sky-devouring secret technique was activated. One after another, killing moves and martial skills bombarded the vortex and were all mercilessly devoured. The sky-devouring mystic technique could devour the heavens. Now that Chu Fengmian had activated the sky-devouring mystic technique, he could even devour the heavenly star river, let alone these 9 tribulations Emperor Gu. Little guy, didn't you say that I wanted to kill you? Then I'll fulfill your wish. The target of this war dragon claw was not Wu Yuan and the others. Instead, it was aimed directly at Emperor Gu, who had just mocked them. That non-family Emperor Gu still wanted to resist, but the power of a 9 tribulations Emperor Gu was no different from an ant in Chu Fengmian's eyes. The war dragon claw clenched and the Wu clan ancient emperor's body was grabbed by Chu Fengmian's war dragon claw and brought to Chu Fengmian. Kneel! Boom! A huge force shrouded him. This non-family Emperor Gu knelt in front of Chu Fengmian without any ability to resist. A ball of demonic fire appeared in Chu Fengmian's palm and struck towards that non-family Emperor Gu. The demonic fire burned, extracting and refining the soul. This non-family Emperor Gu was so arrogant. Of course, Chu Fengmian would not let him off easily. No, no, Chu Fengmian, no, young Master Chu, Senior Chu, let me go. Let me go. I'm willing to submit to you. I'm willing to recognize you as my master. No. Seeing the devil fire nearing, the Wu clan ancient emperor shouted in fear. The pain of having one's soul extracted and refining was recorded in countless ancient books. It was 1,000 times more painful than death. Condense. No matter how this non-family Emperor Gu shouted, Chu Fengmian was not interested in him. He only landed the demonic fire and the body of this non-family Emperor Gu immediately burned. Ah! Ah! A series of cries of agony could be heard. Even though he was a 9 tribulations Emperor Gu, he could not bear the pain of having his soul extracted and refined. He screamed crazily in the wind. His screams sent chills down the spines of countless onlookers. Chu Fengmian's methods were ruthless. There had been rumors about him since the first time he entered the Sacred Dragon's secret domain. However, this was the first time they saw Chu Fengmian using such ruthless methods. Chu Fengmian would never show mercy to his enemies. And all of you, die! Chu Fengmian glanced at the Sacred Academy peak and snorted. The battle dragon claw swept down mercilessly. On the Sacred Academy peak, numerous disciples of the Sacred Academy sect and countless ancient emperors were crushed mercilessly by the battle dragon claw. Their blood essence was completely devoured by the vortex formed by the sky-devouring secret technique. Sect annihilation. Chu Fengmian had already given these Sacred Academy sect disciples a chance. If they did not cherish it, only death awaited them. When the Sacred Academy sect was dealing with Chu Fengmian, they did not give him a chance. Brat, evil creature, I shouldn't have let you join the Sacred Dragon's secret domain back then. I should have killed you long ago. I hate it, why didn't I kill you earlier? Wu Yuan looked at the disciples of the Saint Academy sect who were dying one by one as he roared out in rage. However, no matter how strong his hatred was, he could not harm Chu Fengmian at all. Unfortunately, you don't have a chance. Die. Chu Fengmian's face was indifferent as he said mercilessly. Half a minute. On the Sacred Academy peak, there was silence. There was no sound at all. On the Sacred Academy peak, there was no sign of life. All the martial artists and demon immortals were killed. No one was left alive. On the square, the 6 ultimate sect disciples who were kneeling were extremely glad when they saw this scene. They still chose to submit to Chu Fengmian. Otherwise, this scene would belong to them. Some of the experts from the 8 halls who did not help the Sacred Academy sect were also very glad. However, most of them only looked at Chu Fengmian with fear in their eyes. Such ruthless means had already intimidated everyone. In the entire Sacred Dragon's secret domain, no one dared to be Chu Fengmian's enemy. The Sacred Academy sect will be removed from the Sacred Dragon's secret domain. There is no need for the Sacred Academy peak to exist. Chu Fengmian looked at the Sacred Academy peak and took a step forward. He activated the Battle Dragon Claw and directly sucked in the underground of the Sacred Academy peak. The spiritual spring under the Sacred Academy sect was also something that Chu Fengmian needed. Once the spiritual spring was taken, the Sacred Academy sect would no longer be able to recover. Moreover, the spiritual spring could be integrated into the Sword Origin world for the disciples of the Sword Principle sect to use. The Sword Origin world was Chu Fengmian's nest. Of course, Chu Fengmian had to manage it well. The spiritual spring under the Sacred Academy sect contained more restrictive formations than the spiritual spring under the 6 Ultimates peak. However, it was still vulnerable in front of Sky-Devouring Beast. Chapter 1767. Chu Fengmian activated the sky-devouring secret skill and shrouded the spiritual spring under the Sacred Academy sect. In less than half a minute, more than half of the seal above the spiritual spring was broken. Chu Fengmian immediately gathered his spiritual energy and activated the Battle Dragon Claw. The spiritual spring was pulled out from the ground by Chu Fengmian. Rumble! The Sacred Academy peak collapsed. It was exactly the same as the collapse of the 6 extremity peaks. The spiritual spring that was pulled out from the Sacred Academy peak with the Battle Dragon Claw was 10,000 feet long. It was 100 times bigger than the spiritual spring under the 6 extremity peaks. Chu Fengmian was shocked when he saw such a huge spiritual spring. It was no wonder that the Sacred Academy sect could cultivate so many disciples. If such a huge spiritual spring was given to the Sword Principle sect to cultivate disciples, it could support the Sword Principle sect for 10,000 years. Such a huge spirit spring was already extremely rare in this era. Collect! Chu Fengmian was delighted. He gathered the spiritual spring and kept it in his empty ring. At the same time, Chu Fengmian saw a palace on the collapsed Sacred Academy peak. It contained a dazzling array of treasures. Cultivation techniques, martial skills, spiritual herbs, spiritual weapons, sacred elixirs, and materials. There were hundreds of times more treasures than the 6 extremity peaks. Many of the treasures were of great use to Chu Fengmian. Although the Sacred Academy sect was the second of the 4 sects in name, most of the resources in the Sacred Dragon Secret Realm were given to the Sacred Academy sect. As for the Sacred Dragon sect, they did not receive any resources in the Sacred Dragon Secret Realm. After tens of thousands of years, the Sacred Academy sect had accumulated a huge amount of resources and wealth. Now, all of them were taken advantage of by Chu Fengmian. However, Chu Fengmian could see that there were no treasures or elixirs in the treasure vault that could raise the strength of a half-step sky-human realm expert. It was impossible that there were no treasures in the Sacred Dragon Secret Realm. It was likely that such treasures were in the sacred ground. Now that Chu Fengmian had resolved the matter in the Sacred Dragon Secret Realm, the next step was to deal with the old antiques in the sacred ground. Those old antiques were the most difficult opponents in the Sacred Dragon Secret Realm. However, Chu Fengmian was confident now. Chu Fengmian glanced at the treasure vault palace and waved his hand. Dozens of treasures and elixirs flew out of it. These treasures were useful for the Divine Tree and Chu Fengmian's physical body. The Divine Tree's power was. The Divine Tree's Divine Tree was refined and refined its power. The Divine Tree's power. Divine Tree's Divine Tree. Even the Sword Cauldron could easily devour the Divine Tree's tyrannical ability to refine and devour. The divine realm divine realms. Divine realm divine realm expert S. It should be said that he had reached the final stage of the 9 tribulations ancient emperor realm. However, there was still a distance between the peak and the half-step celestial being realm. Looking at the time, those old antiques should be arriving soon. Chu Fengmian's eyes flickered. Suddenly, he looked out of the Holy Dragon Mystery Plane and flew out in a flash. Qing Meng's escape light followed closely behind and left with Chu Fengmian at the same time. The Heavenly Star River in the Sacred Dragon Mystery Domain was completely under Chu Fengmian's control. Entering and exiting the Sacred Dragon Mystery Domain was as easy as entering an uninhabited land for Chu Fengmian. The 2 figures instantly arrived in the starry sky outside the Sacred Dragon Secret Ground. Chu Fengmian activated his spiritual consciousness and swept it out. He could see that tens of figures were flying towards the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm from thousands of miles away. Among these dozens of figures, the weakest was Emperor Gu of the 9 tribulations. Among them, there were as many as 7 experts who were half a step into the celestial realm. These were the old antiques of the sacred land, the true foundation of the Holy Dragon Mystery Plane. However, Chu Fengmian was the only one who could see those old antiques with his spiritual awareness. Those old antiques in the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane were completely unaware of Chu Fengmian's prying. Chu Fengmian's spiritual awareness continued to grow as Chu Fengmian's cultivation level increased. In the Heavenly Star River, Chu Fengmian's spiritual awareness could travel tens of thousands of miles. This was something that even half a step into the celestial realm experts could not do. Chu Fengmian had lived 2 lives. In addition to inheriting the sword way and memories from his previous life, Chu Fengmian's spiritual awareness was also frighteningly strong. Those old antiques in the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane were completely unaware of Chu Fengmian's prying. They're almost here. Let's give them a big gift right here. Chu Fengmian's lips curled into a cold smile. With a wave of his hand, the Heavenly Star River appeared again and shrouded the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane. It was as if the Heavenly Star River had not changed at all. However, Chu Fengmian had already imprinted his mark in the Heavenly Star River. Apart from Chu Fengmian, no one else could control the Heavenly Star River. Senior sister, hide in the Heavenly Star River first and watch me deal with those old antiques. Chu Fengmian turned to look at Qing Meng and said. Although Qing Meng's strength could be said to be invincible among emperors, she had not stepped into the half a step into the celestial realm. She could not interfere in Chu Fengmian's battle with the half a step into the celestial realm. Qing Meng also knew this. Her figure flashed and hid in the Heavenly Star River. The Heavenly Star River was so big that it was difficult to detect. Moreover, the Heavenly Star River had the ability to conceal one's aura. Chu Fengmian also flashed and hid his aura. Soon after, he entered the Heavenly Star River. From the outside, it was impossible to tell that the inside of the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane had undergone earth-shattering changes. The distance of millions of miles was not considered far for the 9 Tribulations Emperor Gu. In a few minutes, the group had already arrived near the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane. From afar, some people had already seen the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane shrouded by the Heavenly Star River. A few of them frowned. What's going on? Wasn't the Heavenly Star River taken by a little guy? Why is the Heavenly Star River here? What did that guy Wu Yuan say? A half step into the celestial realm old antique of the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane saw the Heavenly Star River from afar and could not help but frown. The Heavenly Star River was the foundation of the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane. It had always been guarding the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane. The reason why these old antiques could hide in the sacred ground and cultivate was also because of the Heavenly Star River. The Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane was not afraid of the invasion of external enemies. Therefore, when they heard that there was a change in the Heavenly Star River, these half-step into the celestial realm old antiques could not be bothered to comprehend the celestial Great Tao and came out of seclusion. But now, the Heavenly Star River was there and no one had touched it. Chapter 1768. He wants to take the Heavenly Star River? How can a little brat do it? Countless half-step celestial realm experts in the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension have tried to take the Heavenly Star River but failed. Chu Fengmian is just a newcomer, how can he have such ability? Another half-step celestial realm expert in the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension said as he sized up the Heavenly Star River. The Heavenly Star River had been standing there since the establishment of the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension. There had been many experts in the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension who had tried to take the Heavenly Star River but failed. I'm afraid only Celestial Realm experts have the ability to take the Heavenly Star River. Otherwise, it would be in existence like the young Emperor. No matter how strong a newcomer from the Holy Dragon sect is, it's impossible for him to reach that level. The half-step sky-human stage powerhouse in the Sacred Dragon Secret Domain slowly opened his mouth and said, It doesn't matter whether that little bastard has taken the Heavenly Star River or not. That little bastard has gone too far. How dare he destroy the Law Enforcement Hall, and now he's attacking the 6 Ultimates sect and the Holy Academy sect. He's looking down on the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension. We have to subdue him. Otherwise, where's the dignity of the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension? A white-haired old man said coldly. This white-haired old man was also a domineering half-step celestial being. Every word he said was like a judgment, containing rules and principles. This was the Emperor Gu, the oldest antique in the law enforcement hall. Previously, it was rumored that the Emperor Gu had been cultivating hard in the holy ground in an attempt to break through to the 9th level Emperor Gu. Now, he had succeeded. The Emperor Gu had successfully stepped into the half-step celestial realm and became one of the pinnacle experts of this era. When the Emperor Gu mentioned Chu Fengmian, the murderous intent in his voice was undisguised. Chu Fengmian had destroyed the law enforcement hall, which could be said to have destroyed all his efforts. The first thing the Emperor Gu wanted to do after coming out of seclusion was to kill Chu Fengmian. A little brat. Even if he has some talent, he has gone too far. The 4 sects and 8 halls of the Holy Dragon's secret dimension have been passed down for tens of thousands of years. How can a little brat destroy them so easily? Upon hearing Emperor Gu's words, the half-step celestial being old antique nodded in agreement. This brat must be killed. But this brat is a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect after all. If we kill him, I'm afraid there will be trouble. Let's not talk about Yunzun for now. Long Qinjue alone is already very troublesome. If we kill this brat, Long Qinjue will also make a big fuss. Another antique said, his voice filled with worry. Humph, it's just Long Qinjue. If we join forces, killing him won't be a problem at all. If it weren't for the fact that we are fellow disciples of the sacred dragon's secret dimension, we would have killed him long ago. Emperor Gu snorted coldly. As for that brat, we don't have to kill him. He has a lot of opportunities on him. We can subdue him and make him work for us. As for Long Qinjue, if he doesn't know what's good for him, we'll kill him as well. We've already refined that thing. Even Long Qinjue won't be able to do anything. As they conversed, the group of antiques from the sacred dragon's secret dimension had already flown to the edge of the Heavenly Star River. Chu Fengmian heard all of their conversations. These antiques join forces to refine something? It can be used to deal with a half-step celestial being. If so many of them join forces to refine it, could it be an extreme immortal weapon? Chu Fengmian's eyes were cold, but he was thinking about this in his heart. Long Qinjue's strength had already stepped into the half-step celestial being realm. According to these antiques' conversation, they were saying that they could kill Long Qinjue if they refined that thing. If that thing was an extreme immortal weapon, it would be troublesome. If Chu Fengmian was careless, he could be killed. However, there was also the possibility that it wasn't an extreme immortal weapon, but a rare item or a powerful heaven-grade spiritual weapon. For example, a heaven-grade spiritual weapon like the Sword Cauldron could also pose a great threat to a half-step celestial being if it unleashed all of its power. But this time, even if these antiques had a great trump card, Chu Fengmian had already refined the Heavenly Star River. With the Heavenly Star River, Chu Fengmian was confident that he could capture all of these antiques in one fell swoop. As Chu Fengmian pondered, the antiques had already arrived at the edge of the Heavenly Star River. These antiques from the sacred dragon's secret dimension were very cautious. They didn't approach the Heavenly Star River carelessly, but carefully observed it from a short distance away. Although Chu Fengmian had refined the Heavenly Star River, he had concealed his mark. Even a half-step celestial being wouldn't be able to see it. The antiques observed for a while, but didn't find anything strange. Go open the Heavenly Star River. Emperor Gu of the 9 Tribulations Emperor Gu said to one of the 9 Tribulations Emperor Gu beside him. When the Emperor Gu of the 9 Tribulations heard this, he moved closer to the Heavenly Star River, took out a jade talisman, and activated it. With the activation of the jade talisman, the Heavenly Star River gradually opened, forming a passage leading to the sacred dragon's secret dimension. There's nothing strange. Looks like that Wu Yuan deliberately lied to make us hurry over. When we see him, we must teach him a lesson. Seeing the Heavenly Star River open, an antique from the half-step celestial being realm snorted coldly, his tone extremely dissatisfied. This antique contained a strong dragon's might. He was a demon god of the dragon clan, Jianwang. The most ancient antique from the Jianwang Hall. As for the other 5 half-step celestial being realm experts beside him, Chu Fengmian learned their identities from Qing Meng. Two of them belonged to the Sacred Academy sect. They were the current sect master of the Sacred Academy sect, Ling Shan, the Great Elder, and Elder Wang. As for the other three, they were the sect master of the Five Spirits sect, Jianwang; the sect master of the Six Ultimates sect, Han Sheng; the hall master of the Martial Tyrant Hall, Ba Do Yuan; in addition to Emperor Gu of the Nine Tribulations realm and Wan Shenlong. There were a total of 7 half-step celestial being realm experts. The Emperor Gu of the Nine Tribulations behind them were also experts from these sections. This time, all the antiques from the Sacred Dragon Secret Dimension had been mobilized. "Junior brother, are we really going to make a move?" Qing Meng, who was at the side, felt like retreating when she saw this huge lineup. There were a total of 7 half-step celestial being realm experts. Although Chu Fengmian had once killed a half-step celestial being realm expert, Huang Lu Jin, in the Sword Origin world, and even forced Heavenly King Huang to retreat, that was a one-on-one battle. However, that was only a one-on-one battle. At that moment, Chu Fengmian had to face a total of 7 people. This was a completely different concept. Even if the Avalon of 5 elements, Qi Linshan, and the rest of the 4 major forces of the Daluo star field, sent all their experts, they might not be able to do anything to these 7 people. In terms of the strength of the upper echelons, the Sacred Dragon Secret Dimension was stronger than the Avalon of 5 elements and Qi Linshan. Unexpectedly, Chu Fengmian was only the Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu. All of a sudden, the tension in their hearts relaxed a lot. Their gazes towards Chu Fengmian were filled with contempt and disdain. Chu Fengmian was merely Emperor Gu of the Nine Tribulations. It was only through some fortuitous encounters that he was able to control the Heavenly Star River. This kind of strength was not even worth mentioning in front of these 7 half-step celestial realm experts. "I didn't expect that after we've been in seclusion for so long, the Holy Dragon sect has produced a monster who dares to destroy the Law Enforcement Hall, flatten the Sword Comprehension Hall and the Myriad Dragon Hall. Now, he's even attacking the 4 sections. This kind of thing has never been done in the Holy Dragon Secret Realm for tens of thousands of years. Junior, it's easy to break if you're too strong. I'm afraid it's not a good thing to be so arrogant at such a young age." The Great Elder of the Sacred Academy sect, Elder Wang, also sized up Chu Fengmian carefully. He wanted to see what the person who had caused havoc in the Holy Dragon Secret Realm was like. Elder Wang's tone towards Chu Fengmian was as if he was lecturing a junior. It was as if he was watching a little guy make a scene. After seeing that Chu Fengmian's realm was only that of the Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu, he did not take Chu Fengmian seriously. The Law Enforcement Hall, the Sword Comprehension Hall, and the Myriad Dragon Hall were destroyed. They only have themselves to blame. Chu Fengmian also heard the contempt in Elder Wang's words. He sneered and said, "Also, you probably don't know that the Sacred Academy sect and the 6 Ultimates sect have also been destroyed. You may consider joining our Holy Dragon sect." "Kid, you destroyed the 6 Ultimates sect?" Suddenly, a roar was heard. The sect master of the 6 Ultimates sect, Han Sheng, roared in anger. "What? You don't believe me?" Chu Fengmian looked at Han Sheng and waved his hand. Suddenly, a mass of light emerged. It was the spiritual spring under the 6 Ultimates sect. The moment Han Sheng saw the spiritual spring, his eyes became incomparably cold, revealing boundless killing intent. Chu Fengmian had even taken the spiritual spring of the 6 Ultimates sect. It was enough to prove that the 6 Ultimates sect had indeed been destroyed. Even if he killed Chu Fengmian, it would not change the destruction of the 6 Ultimates sect. "Little bastard. I want you dead." The moment Han Sheng saw the spiritual spring of the 6 Ultimates sect, he could no longer hold back the anger in his heart. He suddenly attacked. As soon as he attacked, a destructive force appeared in the sky. 6 Ultimates Divine Fist. The destructive force condensed on Han Sheng's fist. The power of this fist seemed to want to destroy everything in the world. the most tyrannical martial skill of the Six Ultimates sect, the Six Ultimates Divine Fist, could destroy everything. Boom! The moment the Six Ultimates Divine Fist was launched, the Heavenly Star River shook as if it was about to be torn apart. The tyrannical power instantly shrouded Chu Fengmian and bombarded him. It was an earth-shattering punch. This was the terrifying strength of a half-step Heaven Realm Master. For example, if a half-step Heaven Realm Master descended on a continent like the ancient monster continent, he could completely destroy it in a day. This was the half-step Heaven Realm. It was a completely different realm from the Emperor Realm. The moment the Six Ultimates Divine Fist was launched, the target was not only Chu Fengmian, but also Qing Meng, who was beside Chu Fengmian. Under this punch, Chu Fengmian and Qing Meng would be killed together. Feeling the tyrannical destructive force, Qing Meng's face changed abruptly as she felt the endless pressure. But on the other side, Chu Fengmian's face was incomparably relaxed. This tyrannical destructive force seemed to be unable to bring Chu Fengmian any pressure at all. The moment the Six Ultimates Divine Fist was about to fall, Chu Fengmian's body moved. He suddenly moved his right hand and blasted across the sky. An invisible dragon claw condensed and swept out. Boom! The moment the invisible dragon claw swept across, the Six Ultimates Divine Fist was torn apart. The destructive force contained in it was instantly dispersed. This was Chu Fengmian's current strength. In a head-on confrontation with a half-step Heaven Realm Master, he was not inferior and even had the upper hand. After tearing apart the Six Ultimates Divine Fist, the invisible dragon claw swept towards Han Sheng. Chapter 1770. The invisible dragon claw loomed over the sky as it descended from the sky and swept toward Han Sheng. Chu Fengmian's overbearing attack had exceeded everyone's expectations. As for Han Sheng, he was the one who was most surprised. The Six Ultimate Divine Fist that he had displayed in anger was the Six Ultimate Sect's unique skill. However, it had been destroyed by Chu Fengmian's seemingly casual palm strike. The peerless expert of the half-step celestial realm panicked when he saw the invisible dragon claw sweeping towards him. He wanted to retreat and hide in the endless void. However, just as he was about to step into the void, an invisible force suddenly tugged at Han Sheng's body and pulled him out of the void, causing him to be swept away by the invisible dragon claw. Puff! Han Sheng's clothes were torn to shreds, and he spat out large mouthfuls of blood essence. You dare to attack me with such little strength? Chu Fengmian sneered as he looked at Han Sheng in disdain. These old antiques of the Holy Dragon's secret realm dared to look down on Chu Fengmian. Chu Fengmian had to teach them a lesson. He would start with Han Sheng. The old antiques of the Holy Dragon's secret realm looked at Han Sheng, who was spitting out blood, as though they had seen a ghost. They could not believe what they were seeing. As a half-step celestial being, Han Sheng was at a disadvantage in this exchange of blows. He was even beaten to the point of spitting out blood. What kind of martial skill is this? The 9 moves of the primogenitor? Boy, you have comprehended the secret of the 9 moves of the primogenitor? Wan Shenlong looked at Chu Fengmian in shock. He could tell that the invisible dragon claw that Chu Fengmian had displayed was the 9 moves of the primogenitor. That's right. I've already comprehended the 9 moves of the primogenitor. The sacred dragon's secret ground is the only legitimate place in my hands. You old antiques, if you obediently submit to me, I might consider sparing your lives. What do you think? Chu Fengmian said with a cold smile. As he spoke, Chu Fengmian's aura began to rise. He could attack at any time. Just now, Chu Fengmian had beaten Han Sheng to the point of vomiting blood with a single move. This had already left a fierce impression in the hearts of the sacred dragon's secret domain's old antiques, and an imposing aura naturally appeared. Little brat, you dare to be so arrogant just because of some fortuitous encounters? You want us to submit to you? Even Yinzun wouldn't dare to say something like that. Hearing Chu Fengmian's incomparably arrogant words, the great elder of the Sacred Academy sect, Elder Wang, also furiously shouted. That's right. Too arrogant. You want us to submit? What a daydream. The other old antiques chimed in as well. With the dignity of these old antiques, they simply wouldn't choose to serve under Chu Fengmian. The geniuses born in the Holy Dragon Mystery Plane were all extremely respectful to them. No one had ever dared to make them submit. These old antiques had ruled the sacred dragon mystic realm for 10,000 years, and no one had ever dared to challenge their authority. Is that so? If you're not willing to submit, then only death awaits you. Just as well, I'll kill you all and devour your essence and blood to increase my strength and help me control the sacred dragon mystery plane. It'll be your final contribution to the sacred dragon mystery plane. Chu Fengmian's voice was incomparably cold. Death awaited those who didn't submit. As for negotiating with these old antiques, Chu Fengmian wasn't interested in that. If he wanted to control the sacred dragon mystery plane, then the entire sacred dragon mystery plane would have to submit to him. No one was allowed to interfere. If these old antiques were to remain and become enemies with Chu Fengmian, it would be a disaster instead. It was better to eliminate them all in one fell swoop. Chu Fengmian, you're too arrogant. Kill us? With just a little brat like you? It seems that we haven't made a move for too long. Even a little brat dares to challenge our authority. If we don't kill this person, where will our authority go? Where are the rules? Emperor Gu stared at Chu Fengmian with cold killing intent in his eyes. Among these people, his killing intent towards Chu Fengmian was the strongest. Stop talking nonsense. Assassinate this brat. Han Sheng, who had recovered from his injuries, glared at Chu Fengmian and shouted angrily. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, he was beaten to the point of vomiting blood by Chu Fengmian. He had lost all face. Now, only by killing Chu Fengmian could he alleviate the humiliation in his heart. Boom! Two figures suddenly moved. Tyrannical spiritual energy erupted and shrouded Chu Fengmian. The ancient emperor of jurisprudence and Sage Han, the two half-step celestial realm experts, struck at the same time, displaying their trump cards and bombarding Chu Fengmian with attacks. Two forces, one of which contained the power of destruction and the other the power of laws, bombarded Chu Fengmian at the same time, intending to kill him directly. Chu Fengmian's expression didn't change in the slightest in the face of the two's joint attack. Suddenly, thousands of sword chi shot out from behind Chu Fengmian. These thousands of sword chi immediately turned into a sword array in front of Chu Fengmian. All spiritual energy that was injected into it was destroyed by the sword array. So what if you join forces? Chu Fengmian smirked contemptuously. Suddenly, he struck out with his palm. Immediately, the invisible dragon claw appeared again and swept toward Emperor Gu and Han Sheng. Watch out! Han Sheng hurriedly warned. He had already suffered from the invisible dragon claw once. Emperor Gu's figure flickered and he once again hid in the array diagram, borrowing the power of the array diagram to resist the attack. However, Chu Fengmian didn't care. As the Dragon Emperor bloodline in Chu Fengmian's body boiled, the power contained in the invisible dragon claw expanded by dozens of times in an instant. The dragon claw, which was thousands of feet long, bombarded the array diagram. Boom! There was a loud boom. The spirit design above the ancient emperor of jurisprudence's head was shaking violently. Under the bombardment of the huge dragon claw, countless cracks had appeared on it. Boom! Emperor Gu and Han Sheng, who were hiding in the array diagram, were suddenly sent flying. Both of them spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Han Sheng's face was extremely pale. He had just barely recovered from his injuries, but there was no way to replenish the essence and blood he had lost so quickly. A half-step celestial realm expert needed a lot of resources to condense essence and blood. He had originally planned to kill Chu Fengmian to make up for the loss of essence and blood he had just lost. However, he was sent flying again by the dragon claw and spat out another mouthful of essence and blood, worsening his injuries. Han Sheng's realm began to become unstable. If this continued, his realm might fall to that of the Nine Tribulations Emperor Gu. Once his realm fell, he would never be able to step into the half-step celestial realm again. Chapter 1771. How can this brat be so strong? Han Xing stared at Chu Fengmian and shouted in disbelief. Two half-step celestial realm experts working together could not do anything to Chu Fengmian. Instead, Chu Fengmian broke the formation with one move. Emperor Gu's formation was a treasure. Even he would not be able to break the formation within 100 moves. Now, Chu Fengmian had cracked the formation with a light blow. He could not understand this kind of strength. He looked at Chu Fengmian as if he had seen a ghost. Chu Fengmian sent Emperor Gu and Han Xing flying with one move, but he did not stop. Instead, his figure flickered and he chased after them. The last time Chu Fengmian stopped after sending Han Xing flying was to give these old antiques a chance to submit to him. After all, there was not a single half-step celestial realm expert in the Sword Dao sect. If Chu Fengmian could subdue one of them, the Sword Dao sect would be much safer. However, it seemed that this group of old antiques from the Holy Dragon Mystic realm were ignorant of the situation and did not intend to submit. Chu Fengmian would not show them any mercy. Die! Chu Fengmian's eyes were filled with endless killing intent as he stared at Han Xing. Han Xing's strength was the weakest among the few half-step celestial realm experts. In addition, he had been injured twice in a row. His strength was not even 50%. To beat a drowning dog, of course he had to kill Han Xing first. After killing a half-step celestial realm expert, Chu Fengmian would devour their blood essence and give it to the divine tree. It would be enough to raise Chu Fengmian's strength to another level. Brat, stop! Stop him! The other old antiques from the Holy Dragon Mystic realm felt Chu Fengmian's killing intent and attacked one after another. They could not sit back and watch Chu Fengmian kill Han Xing. The remaining 5 half-step celestial realm old antiques attacked Chu Fengmian at the same time. At the same time, many of the 9 Tribulations Emperor Gu joined forces and condensed into a divine light that headed straight for Chu Fengmian. The power of dozens of 9 Tribulation ancient emperors combined to form a divine light. In terms of power, it was even stronger than the attack of a half-step to celestial human realm expert. All of the old antiques of the Holy Dragon Secret Ground launched their attacks at Chu Fengmian. What can a bunch of useless people do even if they join forces? Sky Star River. Chu Fengmian sneered. In the face of so many experts, he was not afraid at all. He did not flinch and continued to attack Han Xing. At the same time, in the Heavenly Star River, billowing spiritual energy burst out and shrouded Chu Fengmian's body. It turned into layers of barriers around Chu Fengmian, resisting the attacks of countless experts. Even under the bombardment of 5 half-step celestial being experts and dozens of 9 Tribulations Emperor Gu, Chu Fengmian was determined to kill Han Xing. This kind of behavior was simply crazy to the extreme. Normally, any warrior, even if they were also in the half-step celestial being realm, would not dare to continue the pursuit under the joint forces of such strong warriors. They could only retreat and avoid the attack for the time being. But unexpectedly, Chu Fengmian did not retreat at all. No one could stop Chu Fengmian from killing someone. Han Xing did not expect Chu Fengmian to be so crazy to kill him at all costs. His body flickered continuously, but Chu Fengmian's speed was even faster. In an instant, Chu Fengmian's figure came in front of Han Xing. A spiritual sword condensed in Chu Fengmian's palm and suddenly slashed at Han Xing. Blood splattered. Han Xing's body exploded in the air under the sword. Chu Fengmian swallowed a large amount of blood essence and integrated it into the divine tree. Boom! At the same time, the combined attacks of the 5 half-step celestial being realm experts and dozens of 9 Tribulations Emperor Gu also fell on Chu Fengmian. The power of 5 half-step celestial being realm experts and dozens of 9 Tribulations Emperor Gu's combined forces was simply unimaginable. The barrier formed by the power of the Heavenly Star River was mercilessly torn apart. Even the Heavenly Star River could not stop the combined attacks of so many experts. The strong power passed through the barrier formed by the Heavenly Star River and forcefully bombarded Chu Fengmian's body. This kid is definitely going to die. Seeing this scene, the old antiques of the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm were delighted. If any of them were to be hit by such an attack, they would only be killed on the spot. This was the only way. There was no other outcome. But the joy on the faces of the old antiques of the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm did not last for long. Suddenly, in the direction of Chufengmian, at the center of the collision of countless spiritual powers, the shadow of a divine tree suddenly appeared. The shadow of the divine tree soared into the sky. It was at least 10,000 feet tall and stood upright. The shadow of the divine tree withstood the countless attacks that bombarded Chufengmian's body. Destroy! Boom! A sword light soared into the sky. The combined attacks of the 5 half-step celestial being realm experts and dozens of 9 tribulations Emperor Gu were all destroyed by the sword light. Soon after, a figure flew out of it. This figure was Chufengmian. Countless eyes looked at Chufengmian. For a moment, there was complete silence. The old antiques of the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm were all speechless. Chufengmian had actually withstood such a combined attack. Not even a single wound could be seen on Chufengmian's body. Unscathed? Chufengmian's defense was simply invincible. He had withstood the attacks of 5 half-step celestial being realm experts and dozens of 9 tribulations Emperor Gu and directly killed Han Sheng. This was simply something that no one dared to dream of. Now, it had actually happened to Chufengmian. Even Yunzun of the past was not so heaven-defying. In the hearts of the old antiques of the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm, no matter how strong Chufengmian was, he was just another Yunzun. But now, they were wrong. Chufengmian's strength was even more heaven-defying than Yunzun of the past. Use that thing to kill this person. The sect master of the Holy Academy sect, Ling Shan, let out a long roar. A dragon claw suddenly appeared in the palm of his hand. He threw it out. The dragon claw gradually grew to a size of several hundred feet in the air. Countless ancient lines condensed on the dragon claw. It seemed to be enough to form many formations. But now, there was no spiritual power to support it. Ling Shan was not the only one. The other old antiques of the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm also injected their spiritual power into the dragon claw. With the infusion of spiritual power, the array formations on the dragon claw began to condense again. A dragon's might shrouded down. Under the dragon's might, Chufengmian felt that the power of the Heavenly Star River was completely suppressed. The Heavenly Star River did not dare to go against the dragon claw. Chapter 1772. What kind of dragon claw is this? The Dragon Emperor? The Dragon Emperor? Even the ancestral dragon's dragon claw shouldn't possess such power. The owner of this dragon claw has been dead for hundreds of thousands of years. How can it still contain such power? Chufengmian stared at the dragon claw in awe. The moment the dragon claw appeared, Chufengmian felt the blood in his body begin to boil, as if it were thirsting for it. If Chufengmian could get his hands on this dragon claw and merge it with his Dragon Emperor bloodline, it would be enough to change his bloodline drastically. Ancestral Tianlong's claw. Chufengmian thought for a long time. There was only one possibility for this dragon claw to be ancestral Tianlong's dragon claw. Only the legendary ancestor of all dragons, the innate divine beast, the ancestral sky dragon's dragon claw could contain such tyrannical power even after countless years. Chufengmian had obtained the heaven-devouring beast's heart before. However, this heaven-devouring beast's heart seemed to be in a deep slumber. However, Chufengmian could still feel a terrifying power in the depths of the heaven-devouring beast's heart. Therefore, even if he used the heaven-devouring beast's heart to activate the heaven-devouring secret skill, Chufengmian wouldn't dare to use the heaven-devouring beast's heart recklessly. However, the ancestral Tianlong's claw before him wasn't in a deep slumber. The array that contained the power was still there, but it had lost its spiritual power. Under the joint efforts of the old antiques of the Holy Dragon Secret Realm, the power of the ancestral Tianlong's claw was constantly awakened. This is the Sacred Dragon Secret Dimension's power. It's no wonder they dared to claim that they could kill Long Qianjue. Although the ancestral heavenly dragon's claw is not a heavenly spiritual weapon, it's even more powerful than a heavenly spiritual weapon. Chu Fengmian could feel that even if he used the power of the Emperor's jar fragment, it would still be far inferior to the ancestral Tianlong's claw. Once the ancestral Tianlong's claw was activated, its power would be unstoppable by any half-step celestial being. Chu Fengmian's body trembled. He couldn't let the old antiques of the Holy Dragon's secret realm activate the ancestral Tianlong's claw. Even with Chu Fengmian's current strength in Heavenly Starry River, it would be difficult to resist the sharpness of the ancestral Tianlong's claw. Moreover, Chu Fengmian's claw had the desire of the ancestral Tianlong's claw was Tianlong's claw. Its bloodlines of the dragons of the dragon clan of the dragon's claw of the dragon of the dragon of dragon civet is dragoness. Of the dragon of the of t of the s of the of it dragon it of course. It of them. However, the ancestral Tianlong's claw had now fallen into the hands of the old antiques of the Holy Dragon's secret realm. It was unknown what method the old antiques of the Holy Dragon's secret realm had used to refine the ancestral Tianlong's claw and could channel their spiritual energy into it to activate it. The old antiques of the Holy Dragon's secret realm have yet to refine the ancestral Tianlong's claw. Suddenly, Chu Fengmian's eyes flickered. He sent his spiritual consciousness into the claw and discovered that the old antiques of the Holy Dragon's secret realm had only controlled a portion of the array on the ancestral Tianlong's claw. In fact, the ancestral Tianlong's claw was still an ownerless object. It was just that the old antiques could borrow a portion of the array's power to activate it against their enemies. Chu Fengmian's expression became extremely excited when he heard the news. Since it was an ownerless object, it meant that Chu Fengmian had a chance of obtaining and controlling the ancestral Tianlong's claw. Chu Fengmian cultivated the battle dragon technique and now possessed the bloodline of the ancient dragon emperor. Logically speaking, he had a better chance of refining the ancestral Tianlong's claw than the old antiques of the Holy Dragon's secret realm. However, Chu Fengmian needed a chance to get close to the ancestral Tianlong's claw. The old antiques of the Holy Dragon's secret realm obviously would not give Chu Fengmian such a chance. When Ling Shan took out the ancestral Tianlong's claw, it showed that the old antiques of the Holy Dragon's secret realm were determined to kill Chu Fengmian. The other 5 half-step celestial realm experts and the dozens of 9 tribulations Emperor Gu all attacked at the same time and gathered their spiritual energy. Waves of spiritual energy were channeled into the ancestral Tianlong's claw. Suddenly, the ancestral Tianlong's claw seemed to have come to life and blasted toward Chu Fengmian with the force of a thunderbolt. The huge dragon claw, which was hundreds of feet long, blasted toward Chu Fengmian and swept everything in its path. The power of the claw was many times stronger than Chu Fengmian's battle dragon's claw. Although ancestral Tianlong had fallen, the dragon claw still contained 1/10,000th of ancestral Tianlong's power. It was enough to kill a heavenly being. Innate divine beasts were comparable to peak 9th order immortals and immortal emperors. According to the records, innate divine beasts were even stronger than immortal emperors. Now, the old antiques of the Holy Dragon's secret realm could only activate 1/10 of the power contained in the ancestral Tianlong's claw. Even so, it was still terrifying. Chu Fengmian's face was grim. He knew how powerful the ancestral Tianlong's claw was and did not dare to be careless. The power of the Heavenly Star River gathered around Chu Fengmian and formed the first line of defense. Then, the shadow of the heavenly tree shrouded Chu Fengmian's body and became the second line of defense. The last line of defense and the third line of defense were the fleshly crystals inside Chu Fengmian's body. Under Chu Fengmian's control, the power of the flesh and blood crystals was condensed to the limit and turned into an invincible defense. Facing the power of the ancestral Tianlong's claw head-on was akin to courting death. The only thing Chu Fengmian could do was to resist the power of the ancestral Tianlong's claw. Rumble! The ancestral Tianlong's claw swept down, destroying everything in its path. Everything in the world seemed to be destroyed by this claw. The first line of defense formed by the Heavenly Star River was broken in an instant. The power of the Heavenly Star River was stronger than an ordinary half-step celestial being. But in front of the ancestral Jianwang's claw, it was like a mayfly trying to shake a tree. It only resisted for a moment before it was mercilessly torn apart. Then, the ancestral Jianwang's claw slammed into the shadow of the heavenly tree. You're tuning into the Mythic Realms YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.